Let's go.
I think I'm very happy with the 2v2. I think we play, if not perfect.
샌드박스가 킥스를 잡고
사도!
And yes, Sado played very good in King of the Hill. Takes a very good matchup too. Of course, we can play better, but it was very, very difficult some matchups.
이번 시즌 올킬이 너무 잘 안 됐었는데 이번에 한번 다시 올킬 하게 돼서 너무 기분 좋은 것 같습니다.
그러나 1초 이대로 끝냅니다.
아니 이거 그룹 B 이거 B조 뭐죠?
もう勝って今日2試合やってそれも勝ってっていうのを想定していたのでここでの負けは結構痛い。
I think they want to revenge upon us, so angry. But yeah, we're going to prepare the same and just focus this 1 week to train a lot.
프린세스 다
TNT 자 결국 오지엔투스가 최후의 마지막 게임까지 갑니다.
가장 까다로운 선수는 포너스의 나이키 선수라고 생각하고 예측 불가능한 플레이가 이렇게 어렵게 만든 것 같습니다.
제 왔을 때 힘들 것 같은 상대는 킥스. 거기 1대1이 솔직히 상당히 라인업이 강하기도 하고 조금 무섭죠, 개인적으로는. 물론 질 것 같진 않네.
We just finished top 1. Yeah, it's sad because now we lose the first game, but I'm sure that we're going to train so hard and do everything we can do to next match.
負けたら本当に終わりなので、後悔しない試合をしたいと思います。
플레이오프 마지막까지 열심히 달려서 꼭 좋은 결과 나올 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
목숨 걸어야죠, 일단은. 결승전 모두에게 꿈의 무대고 앞에 보이는 것부터 차근차근 밟아서 꼭 결승전 가고 싶습니다.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Clash Royale League Asia 2019 Season 2 playoffs. We are into the second week of the playoffs, which means today we will know one of the teams that will be going to the finals. I'm Paper Thin. With me, once again, is Simon. We're back here again for the playoffs, my friend, and it's going to be cool. We get to see the other group this time around, and a lot on the line today.
Yes, so much on the line. Kicks, as they said in the video, they finished first in their group. They're in the first match today. They lost last week. Anything can happen. The group 1 is ridiculously close. Any team can beat any team on any day. Kicks have beat Chronos 2 times already this season. Will they be able to do it a 3rd time?
It's hard. It's hard to beat a team that many times in one season. It's really hard because eventually the other team kind of gets a read on you. Now, I think a little bit different this time around because we have a different meta in play than we did in the earlier parts of the season when they faced off. So now things are a little different. So it's a little harder to prepare for your opponent because we've seen, this rapid meta shift. So what's going to happen here? I'm super curious. Of course, another thing we should talk about, the fact that Group B was the best out of them.
As casters, we have a bit of friendly rivalry. You and G-Clef, Group A, we're always like, Group A is the strongest, Group A is the best, it's the most fun to cast. Group B showed up and kind of just embarrassed you lot.
They did.
It's been great. It's been wonderful for me.
Yeah. They really have been impressive. I mean, look at this, basically across the board. Sandbox over Kicks. Ponos was one who didn't, not beat OG and Entus, but OG and Entus was a Group B team.
Obviously.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it's just crazy. And then over there, it's, BGG, Bob Gaming, you're just looking at
Group B
very
again.
Strong teams, all Group B.
Yeah, so one thing we need to mention is that if the team that gets to the final match tonight beats OGN once, they then have to go to a tiebreaker King of the Hill set and do it again.
Exactly.
That is a mountain to climb. That is the Everest of Clash Royale esports right there.
That is so difficult. I mean, OGN has been nearly flawless this season. They did lose one King of the Hill to Bren Esports.
Yeah.
But that's it. They beat Bren again another time in a King of the Hill, and then Dandelion wiped OPGG off the face of the earth by himself. So, I don't know. Going up against OG and Entus right now is so scary. The 2v2s, maybe you kind of feel like, they've been good, but they haven't been as great as, say,
Fav.
Thank you. But in the when it comes down to the 1v1s, I mean, that appears to be one of the most stacked, scary lineups in Clash Royale League Asia.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, we're even ignoring that second match. Sandbox Gaming. Sado last week just basically manhandled anyone who was unlucky enough to be in front of him. So Sandbox 2 are an equally scary team. But now we have Kix and Ponos, two of the best teams. As you can see, Kix lost 1-2 to Sandbox Gaming last week. Ponos lost 0-2 to OGN Entus. It wasn't even close last week against OGN Entus. OGN Entus walked that game against Ponos last week. But Ponos have this thing, when it gets to playoffs, when it gets to the time where they can fold, they play better than they have all year long.
Anytime Ponos gets pushed up against a wall is when you will find their best come forth. And we will see if they have that available today. And these are going to be your lineups. And remember, everybody, if you lose, you're done. Your season's over here. So it is winner take all. Kix, it's going to be Pedro and JP again after their impressive 2v2, a rout last week. They were absolutely incredible against Sandbox. And then Legend in the 1v1, and then Mountain's going to be available this time for the King of the Hill. Over there, they're going back to Rad and Reiki Jones, who were not as strong this season as we saw last season in 2v2. Curious to see that they're going back to that with MeConBoya and Tengad tending to have more success, but you know, last week it didn't go well.
Yep. So what is interesting is the Miner ban. I think this is the first time I've seen Miner get banned in 2v2.
In a long time.
In a very long time. What do you think it opens up?
I mean, for me, if I'm looking at Reiki Jones and Rad based on their tendencies, I'm feeling Hog Rider of some sort. They're one of the duos that really likes Hog Rider and really good at using it. You know, like Freeze, of course, is very popular with it with a lot of different decks, but you know, there's a lot available. Still, graveyards are very, very popular, and that's okay. Obviously, you still have the wall breakers, but without the Miner, like you were saying before the broadcast, maybe not the wall breakers. You can still do it, but
it's a lot harder because Miner is the tank for the wall breakers to come in and connect. What is interesting is a lot of the other teams will ban Freeze. Letting Freeze go through is almost as strange as letting Tornado through, because Freeze has been shown time and time again this season that it will come out of nowhere. It will hit you, and you will lose a tower to it. We have seen so many times a big push going down the left. It looks like it's going to take the tower. Suddenly, there's a Freeze graveyard on the other side. The tower just melts.
Yeah. And if you use it right defensively, you can still get quite a bit of value out of it as well. If you can catch a lot of big units in there and maybe buy some time for an Inferno Dragon or Inferno Tower, maybe like a Goblin Gang or some smaller group of units as well, you can get quite a bit of elixir trade out of that. So Freeze, of course, very, very powerful in 2v2, and I expect to see it probably right out the gate, but you never know. A lot of Mega Knight, wall breakers kind of things coming in as well.
And Giant Skeleton is still in the game, so again, that does kind of... Giant Skeleton stops things like P.E.K.K.A. It stops anything that you want to kind of flood the bridge, because it's just the most powerful defensive unit in 2v2.
Yep, and Kix going right out here with the wall breakers, and there's plenty of defense available by Ponos. Now, they did expend a little bit extra with that Valkyrie. Ooh, one bad hit. That's not that big of a deal, but every once in a while they break into the right formation that they're able to get one swing in.
Yeah, it's not a massive hit, but we've seen time and time again that some of these games come down to 30, 40 HP left on a tower. And I mean, one bad hit is like a tickle, but that could be the deciding factor later on. We do see Lava Hound from Kix And an Inferno Tower, perfect defense. And there you go, as you were saying, Hog Rider in the 2v2 from Chronos.
Yep, right followed up with that EQ, but there's 2 bombs it has to go around. It eats one of them, it's gonna get pulled in, but it doesn't change to the King Tower by the Fisherman, just not quite close enough. It'll stick with its previous target, oh boy. And this is where the Fisherman gets weird and where you can use that giant skeleton to make people pay. Now, you can get it to turn around if you do it right, but
not this
gonna
time.
Get it.
Yep. Last week we saw that with the Fisher, they put the giant skeleton in front of the Fisher to push the giant skeleton back. This time, no dice, and they took a massive hit to that tower. 1,190 remain on that bottom left. So Kicks, load up with that beautiful Lava Hound and the Mega Minion just behind.
With the Lava Hound being your primary card for Kicks, most likely you're not going to have a card with the mass to push the giant skeleton back in that situation. So let's see if Kicks can get a Lava Hound push going. Do they have an answer for this Inferno? They do have the Lightning this time, and with the Poison, you're going to get that Magic Archer as well. So a lot of damage coming through here for Kicks. The E-Wiz in time to help mitigate some of it, but they're still going to come out ahead and kind of redistribute that damage they took from the giant skeleton.
Yeah, that E-Wiz looked a little bit too early and didn't really connect any damage onto the Lava Pups. It was all poison damage that we were seeing there. So not the best of defenses for Chronos, but we've seen their offense can be scary. But most of that damage, again, was done by a Fisherman pulling in the giant skeleton.
All right, the Lava Hound is connected. That was a great block by Kicks on the bridge. That Hog Rider got stuck behind everything and could not get through, so they weren't able to get much damage done with it. And here you go, we're going to try it again. This time he's going to get around just fine. No defense available for Kicks on that Hog Rider except for the Fisherman, and that is going to activate the King Tower, but 709 left.
Yeah, what was interesting is that freeze just about missed the Fisherman there, and that's what they were looking for. They were looking to freeze the Fisherman, keep the Hog Rider on the tower and take it down, but now look at how much stuff is at that left side. That tower is down, and it looks as though Kicks are going to take the first of tonight's matches.
Really well done by Kicks, the bomb tower, a good choice here. Very versatile, good against the wall breakers, of course, as we've seen in the meta, a lot more bomb tower being fit into decks because of the prevalence of the wall breakers. Also, it's pretty good against the Hog Rider.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. That was clinical by Kicks.
Yep.
They did take a little bit too much damage, obviously pulling in the giant skeleton, but after that, they just shored up their defenses. They were like, okay, let's close the door, make sure nothing else gets through. And they, after this, they literally only took like 300 extra damage. Great defense by Kicks. And I know what people are thinking. Why do we have Pedro and JP in 2v2 when Pedro in 1v1 is so ridiculously scary? These two have a 100% win record. They won one game together, JP and Pedro. They did beat Detonation Gaming, Tempora, and Joker. So I guess Kicks are maybe looking to change things up a little bit so they're not as predictable this week.
And, I mean, obviously there's the language, right? They both speak Spanish, so that helps. And they're both phenomenal 1v1 players. I think you can take 2 really good 1v1 players. You see this in West as well with Surgical Goblin coming into 2v2. Guys like this that are so good at 1v1, the skill transfers over to 2v2 as well. So you put the two best 1v1s together. We're going to do it 2v2 as well.
But sometimes you do need a 2v2 specialist. Let's not put that out of the way. 2v2 can be difficult, and if you get 2 people with a big ego on the team, it's really hard to get done because both of them want to boss it around. Both of them want to put down their mark.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
And I think with a team that this season has shown to have not much ego when it comes to playing together has been Kitya-chan and Ken Smeshi for Bob. I mean, obviously they've been just dominant. They lost 1 set all season.
Yeah, they're 11-1, I believe.
Yeah.
12-1.
Anyway, now. It's just nuts.
Let's get into this one. Reiki Jones and Red in red at the top, and Pedro and JP in blue at the bottom, and instantly Kicks throw out that Goblin Barrel. This is 2 times in a row they've showed very early on one of the core cards of their deck, I would say. Like, Goblin Barrel to me kind of means we're going to see spell bait, probably with wall breakers as well.
Yeah, definitely, probably princesses and dark goblins indeed. So that dark goblin is in range of the Inferno Tower, but they're just going to use the poison to clean that up, and the magic archer as well. There's that princess, of course. So this is kind of interesting. A very different deck already here from Kix. So far from Raiki Jones and Rad, the Witch is a bit of a change, but nothing substantially different that we're seeing out of them. They did use Magic Archer last time as well.
Yeah, we've seen this 2v2 deck from Kix especially. We saw it work last week, I think. Well, we have seen it a few times this season, but what Chronos are bringing, it's kind of an interesting deck. There we go, again, the Hog Riders and an Inferno Tower to pull the one, but it didn't quite pull the other, and there is an E-Wiz there that's just going to keep resetting the damage. A lot of damage getting done there. 1823 and 1806 and another hit. Oof, one more?
Yep, it does get one more. The stun buys that E-Wiz so much time against that Princess Tower. Even though Chronos made a minor mistake up there on the top right, they're still able to come through because they used the E-Wiz and the log against that. Now, they just needed the log against it, not the E-Wiz as well. Ooh, that, sometimes if you do that snowball right, you can actually get that Goblin to activate your King Tower.
Yeah, but it is a very tricky move. And you see that hero skeleton there? Larry? Larry was standing behind the tower that whole time and finally decides to make his grand appearance.
Oh no, that Magic Archer on the left. So Kix is just going to try to make one side or another work. The Valkyrie is there. This time they're going to get an extra stab because of the Goblin split. The Rocket's going to come up and over. But I don't think it's going to get the Valkyrie. It's just going to get the Giant Skeleton here. And the bomb in the middle is going to buy that Dark Goblin a bunch of time.
Yeah, so we see this is looking very, very scary this time for Kix. How are they going to be able to do it? The Mega Knight comes in, cleans all that up. But that bomb from the Giant Skeleton takes out the two Rascal Girls. They kind of need those alive. And a Hog Rider on the left-hand side coming in. The Inferno Tower is down. There is the Earthquake, a Witch to try and support. Is that Hog going to make it? No, but they load up on a Hog on the right-hand side. And a Poison down again, taking out that Goblin Gang. There is the freeze. A log comes in. That Giant Skeleton is going to be able to connect onto that tower. And that is going to be this match, this game going to Chronos.
Yep, the log comes through. The Goblin Barrels are trying to get in, but the E-Wiz also there to deny any significant damage. So Chronos making a few minor changes there. The big addition of the Witch being one of them, and they are able to completely turn that around. They had a lot of answers for the Goblin Barrel there.
Yeah, it felt like Kix could never quite get the ball rolling on their cycle. Like every time the Goblin, like the barrel came out, it was instantly evaporated. They could never find the right moment where there was nothing there. You had the log and the E-Wiz going down there to finish those.
And even
Goblins.
with that slight mistake, look how far ahead Chronos gets here. That's crazy. They made basically a three, let's call it a 3 elixir mistake there by using the log and there, maybe 4 and the E-Wiz, right? One or the other is fine.
Yeah.
But then they're still able to get a bunch of damage. That's when you got to start looking at this, you know, and going, okay, this is looking pretty good for Chronos.
Yeah, I mean, we never really saw those wall breakers from Kix make any purchase, or they made no impact in this game whatsoever. I think they come down one time, and that was it. That's ridiculously good defense from Chronos, and that's what 2v2 is about, defending your opponent's push and just letting whatever you have left come through. I mean, look at this. That was it.
And you can see, like, it gets scary when you try to split the wall breakers, and then you can put, like, just a Giant Skeleton on one side, and one hit plus the Princess Tower is going to take down one of those wall breakers. Basically anything, if you split it, that Chronos had was going to take down the wall breaker if it was split like that. So there's not much you can get from doing that. If you're Kix, you got to try to find some other way. Maybe getting those wall breakers behind a Mega Knight, but even then you couldn't get that going because the Giant Skeletons were there to distract the Mega Knight.
And also block out the wall breakers as well. It's like the Great Wall of China. They can't get around it, but here we go. Wall breakers snowballed out and perfect defense. Okay, we have a log and wall breakers and there, barrel and wall breakers and another barrel coming out from Chronos. So slightly different deck. Maybe trying to show Kix how to play that last deck that they tried to play.
All right, they aren't going to get any damage from the Lumberjack or the Valkyrie. Here comes a Magic Archer of their own for Kix. The poison is going to end up getting that Magic Archer, but I think he's going to take care of that Princess. Yes, indeed. Now we're seeing some Giant Skeletons here from Kix. Looks like they're trying to maybe give Chronos a little bit of their own medicine. Indeed, it is going to be the Hog Rider coming in, and there is a Mega Knight to block all that up, though. Look at this, he can't get through.
Yeah, he was stuck in between a rock and a hard place and couldn't get through at all. And a Royal Giant coming down now. What do Kix have to help defend? There is the Inferno Tower. Locks onto the Mega Knight first, and it still hasn't even tickled that Royal Giant. That Royal Giant is still very, very healthy, but it is going to go down as it gets one shot in.
One shot, the bats were pretty good, but that Princess comes in, gets most of the bats except for one eventually. That bomb's going to take that Princess down, and you just let those bats be. They're not going to get a hit this time. So it's really fascinating here to see that Kix is, both teams are kind of saying, well, we can play that deck. Like they're playing basically the same decks, just swapping them out this time around. Can Kix find the same solution that Chronos was able to?
Well, there is another Goblin Barrel and another log to deal with it. The Hog Rider comes in. This time the Goblin Cage is there, but the rage on the floor is going to make him deal with that quite quickly, but the Goblin Brawler still makes it through. Very, very healthy. The Dark Goblin as well is an incredibly scary card at times.
Yeah, I like Chronos' chances here. I like the addition of the Royal Giant. Makes it a lot trickier. Those do get one wall breaker through on the bottom right. They're going to use an EQ onto this Princess. That does not take the Princess completely out. Now you've got a Mega Knight coming over the bridge. Goblin Barrel on the right with the Princess loading up for a shot herself. Ewiz will be there to clean her up.
Yeah, every time Kix puts down that Hog Rider, there is just the Mega Knight in the way, stopping with that Giant Skeleton. Their own allied Giant Skeleton keeps blocking the Hog Rider. They have to try and find a way where they can split those two off. You don't have the Hog Rider and the Giant Skeleton down at the same time, because this happens. Is it going to happen again?
Yeah, because what you can do, look at this. It's great placement here by Chronos to put that Goblin Cage right where it is. It drags that Hog Rider right in between the sandwich of the Giant Skeleton and the Mega Knight. This is incredible, incredible stuff here from Chronos.
Yeah, well, we see both towers. Towers are going down everywhere, but look at this. That Royal Giant is going to get another shot in. 795 on that bottom right-hand side. It's all going on, but the Lumberjack is going to be quite healthy there with the bats. It's going to get a decent amount of damage, but will they be able to do anything on this left side? Kix have quite a scary push. There is the freeze. The Hog Rider is there. The Mega Knight isn't attacking the Hog Rider. The Earthquake comes down. I think that's it.
Wow, Kix gets it right at the very end. Good timing, knowing when their opponents didn't have enough elixir to create the Mega Knight Giant Skeleton sandwich to block the Hog Rider, and they are able to get in there and get it done right down to the wire. It looked like Chronos was maybe going to be able to pull that off, and then Kix finds a way. They are very patient. They wait for their timing. They realized what was happening with that Hog Rider situation, and they waited to the point where it could not happen.
I don't think they could have left it any longer, though. I think that was the only time they could have pulled the trigger and taken the tower, because their tower was incredibly low.
Yeah,
that
it had
was
to be there. Yeah,
beautiful timing, beautiful placements, everything by Kix. Chronos, hats off to them. That was some incredible defense. Like, just how they kept getting that perfect location every time. That's like intuition.
It's just so good, so well thought out. You know, I think part of it was they probably saw in the previous game where that Hog Rider was getting stopped up. They're like, oh, we can make that happen.
Yeah, we can abuse that worse than you can.
Yeah, exactly.
So at this point, it was looking all right. Now here, this Royal Giant gets a lot of purchase in. The tower's going down to the poison. He gets one hit, log back, gets the second. Now, 795. And both of Chronos' towers are relatively healthy. But this push, the wall breakers there, I think, may have been a mistake. It kind of did cause this big push to come in.
Right.
And there we go. The Mega Knight doesn't turn around to go for the Hog Rider. It's stuck onto the Giant Skeleton, and that, as they say, was that. But we are going to get down into this 1v1 right now.
Well, Pedro and IMJP remain undefeated in their 2v2s. Now we go over to Legend, sporting a bit of a new haircut there as well. And he has been pretty good in the regular season, but in the playoffs he did lose. So he is looking to turn it around here, as that was what caused Kix to go to that King of the Hill where Sato all killed them, as we saw in the promo video, looking to get revenge against the one, the only, the MeConBoya.
Yeah, the Orange Boy himself is up in a 1v1. And as you can see, playoff records, I mean, do we even need to talk about the playoff record? 0-1 in 2v2, but the regular season, he was 2-1. Is that right? I'm gonna have to check my notes here. Yeah, he lost to Benza Riddell, but beat Tochi and Hane X Hane on Detonation Gaming. So this guy hasn't played that many 1v1s this season. He did take a break as well, right?
Yeah, and if you look at King of the Hill, since that's a type of 1v1, he beat Line and Nuri on Dragon X, which is really impressive because those are two very difficult players to go against. Dragon X, of course, being a very strong team. So, I mean, if you're looking for anybody, if you're Ponos, when everything is on the line, I'm not sure there's anybody else you'd want up on that stand right now. This guy is a legend.
Well, he does need to do something here because if Ponos lose this, Ponos are out. Kicks will go to the next match against Sandbox Gaming, but MeConBoya is never to be underestimated. He might be able to turn this around for Ponos, take us to King of the Hill, and maybe we will get Sandbox versus Ponos.
All right, going to be a Goblin Cage from MeConBoya to deal with those wall breakers. The wall breakers, we're seeing a lot more buildings like the Furnace, the Bomb Tower, Goblin Cage be really effective against them, so you're seeing a lot more of those kind of working their way into the meta, into a bunch of different kind of stuff. And Lava Hound used to be the most popular, and here we will see it still be very popular to use with that Goblin Cage.
Yeah, Legend decided to put down the Royal Ghost on the right-hand side, trying to get a bit of extra damage with the Elixir investment from MeConBoya on the left-hand side, but didn't quite get any damage done. The Valkyrie was played at the perfect time, and that poison right on the edge of the Witch there is going to be able to do a lot of work. That tower is down to 1823.
Yep, a decent push here from MeConBoya, but now you've got the wall breakers coming in, and that Goblin Cage smack dab in the middle of everything will absorb all the damage, but still plenty of damage comes in from that miner in the back, as Mecon had no other answer.
Oh, and Legend had to take a punch from the Goblin Brawler there. More damage getting done to that tower. Will this play an effect at the end of the game? 15:59 remain, but there is 18:02 on the same lane's tower, that left-hand side of MeConBoya. So this is a close one so far.
All right, we are just waiting for the final cards. Well, we can pretty well guess what it's going to be from Mecon. It's not going to be too surprising there, but what does Legend have? It feels like Mega Knight potentially. We've seen that so many times paired in with the Witch and the Miner, but a lot of other things can be fit in. People are trying all kinds of goofy stuff these days because of the new meta shift, so we're seeing a lot of really interesting decks come out. The Valkyrie, of course, isn't going to stop that wall breaker. You got to place it just a little bit better than that. That was just a misplacement there by Mecon.
Yeah, and he's paying for it now. That tower is dangerously low, especially with the kind of cards that Legends has. The Witch, the Miner, the Wall Breakers can all take that tower down in a near instant. But two Wall Breakers connect on the right-hand side. The Royal Ghost as well. That tower is gone almost instantly. And MeConBoya has to put everything on this left-hand side. He has to put so much Elixir down here.
Yeah, this one has to work on the left or it's all for naught. Quite a bit of damage coming in. The Witch gets eliminated, but look at this on the top left. Legend realizes he's lost this, so he's just trying to get as much damage as he can onto that top left. Witch coming through here for Legend to defend against this Lava Hound. It tanks it down pretty fast. You get the skeletons. Oh, the Fisherman just going to pull it away from the King Tower anyway, so no Goblin Brawler damage coming through.
Yeah, that was super smart there by Legend, realizing that he has the advantage. It's time to put some more damage down on that left-hand side, and that's why he did. 698 remain. He has a massive advantage, and there is a lot of Elixir coming down. There is the Mega Knight. The Miner is there. The Royal Ghost is there, and that tower is down from the Miner in the back. Legend is one game away from taking Kicks to the next stage of this playoff.
He's looking real good. I like the idea by Mecon. The Lava Hound is more of a niche pick now. You still see it from time to time across both leagues. We saw it in West during the playoffs. We've seen it in China during the playoffs. It still has a bit of success. What I'm curious to see is if maybe we'll try the Balloon Miner from Mecon. That is a staple deck of his. We've seen him be very successful, and that deck is still pretty powerful against this current meta. So I'm kind of curious if that's what he's going to go back to. Meanwhile, Legend playing the Mega Knight Miner Witch with an interesting variant with the Royal Ghost in here.
Yeah, I mean, both deck choices on any other given day, when they're not these decks against each other, I could see MeConBoya winning. I could see Legend dominating most other decks. If it was a mortar deck, I think he would have just destroyed anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, this deck against that deck, Legend has these more answers to everything that MeConBoya was bringing. And it showed. Like, he could barely get through, and the only reason he got through down that left-hand side is because, you know, Legend went on the right to finish the tower down. So, and, you know, so much damage got done, and that miner in the back, dragging the Valkyrie, then the Royal Ghost, and the miner just gets so much work. And I think the splash damage from the Royal Ghost as well was connecting onto the tower.
Yep.
Just beautiful play by Legend here. MeConBoya needs to do something different this time.
Well, I was wondering what variant would come through there for Mecon when he brought the Lava Hound. I was wondering if it was going to be Lightning as the big spell, not the Poison, because Lightning, I think, is currently a little bit better if you're going to run Lava Hound in this meta. Poison's great against the Witch, but it doesn't completely finish her off. It leaves her with a shred of health, enough that any damage she takes. But Lightning erases her, and you can usually catch something else in there with it, get a lot of value out of that Lightning in those situations, because what ends up happening is the Witch, if it's alive, does great against the Lava Hound, the Baby Dragon, and the Mega Minion.
Yeah, anything in the air she's good against. Like, she has huge single target damage. I know it's supposed to be a splash, but at this point, it is basically single target damage. That splash is tiny. I don't think it even splashes on minions, right? Like
if they group up, their initial spawn, no. But if they
group up more,
they will. You can get more than one. Same with like Goblin Gang and Skeletons and stuff. If they kind of group up, but
in their natural habitat.
In their natural habitat. That's why you're seeing a lot of archers these days. It's because when they spawn and when they move, they rarely group up like that. So the Witch kind of struggles just a little bit against them.
Okay, anyway, we are down. Legend has match point here if he can take on MeConBoya, if he can do it one more time. But MeConBoya is one of those guys who can pull it out of nowhere. He can bring it back for his team and take us to the King of the Hill. So let's see what's going to happen. We see a miner. We see
I'm telling you,
the furnace.
This is Balloon. I'm telling you right now, this is Balloon for MeConBoya. 100%.
100% good shout here. Let's see. Could be wall breakers.
Nope. Not with the
Anything
Musketeer.
can be wall breakers, man.
Legend's got wall breakers. No surprise there, of course, because he already used them. That time, good Valkyrie placement. And you're going to get that Royal Ghost, who is very effective against that.
There you go. Good shout there by Paper Thin. So the balloon's coming in. Is there an answer? There's only the zap. The Witch is on the left-hand side from Legend. And the minions come in. It's perfect snowball, and they do get one drop.
That's big. That one drop is big. You do get a couple shots in the top left from the Witch. But right now, I like what MeConBoya brought. I think this was a good change-up by him. The real question is can he get it done in 2x Elix? That's harder.
Yeah, that is much harder. We're going to start seeing, we reach 10 elixir. There is the miner, wall breakers as well. No, not this time. Just let the miner go on his own. Musketeer to answer that, and the Fisherman down from Legend here at the back. Slowly going to walk forward. We're going to see, there is the Royal Ghost. So Legend now does not want to play that Witch until the balloon is played, right? He's going to hold on to that for as long as possible. So what does he then have going forward? He has the miner and the wall breakers. There's the Witch. Will we see the balloon on the left-hand side at this point?
You got a Valkyrie up there to tank for that balloon. And look at this. Legend, I think, thought that balloon was potentially going to come. Either way, it's good because it does a lot of damage against that Valkyrie, which is going to ignore that miner on the back right. So now Legend going to have to try to get a push going up on the top left. Wall breakers behind the Mega Knight. They do not connect with the first furnace. One will connect with the second one. The other is still alive and healthy. He gets through and does damage. Top right as well. Took a bunch of damage.
Yeah, those skeletons from that Witch on that right-hand side did so much work. 259 left. And just like that, the balance is switched to Legend again. The tower goes down. These Royal Ghost picks have been absolutely beautiful for Legend.
Really smart pickup by using the Royal Ghost. It is an answer to a lot of the questions in the current meta. MeConBoya goes left with the balloon, but I think it's going to be too little, too late. There just isn't enough time for it to get to the Princess Tower, and it is going to be Kix that is going to take the first game of the day. Incredible stuff here.
Legend, take a bow. He was taking his headphones off like with 5 seconds left. He's like, I'm not going to touch this device anymore. This is it. I just manhandled last season's champions.
And it'll be the end of the year here for Chronos. Not the finish, of course, that they wanted. This team has been historically great in Clash Royale League Asia, and you can see there's a lot of stress on their faces right now, but
Yeah, a lot of disappointment too. You got to feel sorry for them. Chronos played incredible most of this season. They haven't been their best, but they've still been good enough to hang with everyone else.
Kix
And
has been their kryptonite, though.
yes, that's 3 times in a row Kix has beaten Chronos.
That's hard to do against any team.
Yeah, because you just have the data.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, again, Legend did such a good job here. That Royal Ghost, such an interesting fit into that deck. It counters the Furnace really well. It runs into a bunch of stuff. It's not bad against the Witch. It's pretty decent, not great. But, you know, against a lot of things, you can get some good value out of it. So, we are moving over to Sandbox Gaming versus Kix. Coming up next, guys. We will be back shortly.
Let's go.
And welcome back, everyone, to Clash Royale League Asia Season 2 2019. We are in the playoffs and we are well underway. Kicks just defeated Chronos, so the season is over for our first team here for 2019. The rest of the year, and then we move on. It's Sandbox versus Kicks, and Kicks is looking for some revenge here, Simon.
Yeah, Kicks lost to Sandbox last week. So will they repeat that loss? I don't think so. The way they played game one today, match one against Chronos, I don't think anyone is going to beat them today. They are looking on fire.
This 2v2 lineup has proved to be very, very successful for Kicks. IMJP and Pedro, very powerful when we put these two together. We've got the fusion dance happening once again in Clash Royale League Asia. And this time it's, what are we going to call it? I am Pedro? Can we call it that? I am Pedro?
Ped JP?
Ped JP. No.
All right. Looking at the matchups. First, we have the 2v2. Kani and Sato against Pedro and JP. They ban the Mega Knight and the Tornado. And then, after that, we get IceLaw versus Legend.
And then you got Shunshu and Malinton up for King of the Hill if needed. This is, once again, I mean, Kicks is so scary. Really fascinating to see Kicks be the one that banned Tornado. They usually don't. This Kicks 2v2s have been typically banning something other than Tornado. They're looking to try to find a weakness in their opponent or ban something to open the door for something else. We saw them do this where and now I'm trying to struggle to remember, but they banned something and then they just use E-Dragon a bunch because they knew that whatever was there wasn't going to be able to counter it.
Well, what's interesting as well is Sandbox, for I think the last 3 2v2s they've played, have banned Freeze. So what probably happened is Kicks have realized, like, we have to get Tornado out. Sandbox are probably going to ban Freeze. We need to ban Tornado. So it could be that aspect as well. Like, you do have people looking for patterns in how teams play. And it stood out to me straight away that, you know, Freeze has been banned so many times by Sandbox that maybe Kicks have been like, okay, I need to ban Tornado.
Yeah, that could be. That really, really could be. You want to have that Tornado just not there, because there's a certain level of comfort when that, because having Tornado in there means you have to be a lot more careful about where you're placing your units. You can't vary up your strategy as much. It makes it harder to use things like Goblin Barrel and the Miner, etc., etc. So it definitely feels good to have it, and I'm looking kind of at what Sandbox did last time. Some Royal Giant, but they lost with that. So then they switched it up. Then we were looking towards, it looks like the Lava Hounds. Yes, indeed. They brought Lava Hounds a couple times in a row and were able to do pretty well with those in their first playoff match. So, gonna see what they want to do this time. And the Mega Knight being banned here against Kix, I feel like, is probably a little bit targeted. We saw Kix play very well with that Mega Knight.
Yeah, well, why ever they chose those bans, we're going to find out as we're going to get into game 1 between Connie and Sado. In blue at the bottom of the screen, and Pedro and JP in red at the top.
All right, Sandbox ready to try to get this done. It's going to be the Hog Rider here from Sandbox, so not going with that Lava Hound.
Didn't get a connection at all. It's weird, like we haven't seen Hog Rider used as much recently, but today it's just everywhere in 2v2. And the Graveyard comes down, and it is getting a little bit of purchase, as it had the Baby Dragon and the Valkyrie there tanking for it. But 2-1-3-2, only a little bit of damage this time round. But is that Hog Rider going to be able to do more this time? That's the question. It is pulled by the Inferno Tower, and no, it gets nowhere near the tower again.
Great defense by Kix, keeping that Witch pretty in safe range. They're going to have to use their freeze defensively now, but that is going to be one hit from that Hog Rider, only one indeed. And now you're getting the piercing shots from that Magic Archer. That has got to end soon.
Yeah, that giant skeleton started off just out of the angle that was needed, but as it moved forward ever so slightly, just made sure that that Magic Archer got the connections in, and Sandbox have taken a pretty convincing lead for this point of the game.
Those Magic Archer placements can be so devastating. When teams can find those angles to come in there, get those piercing shots, it just adds up so quick because of that high attack speed from that Magic Archer. Now you've got double giant skeletons being lined up. That one's going to die at the bridge, but it's going to find the damage onto that Witch, and that will wipe that out.
Yeah, the double giant skeleton in the same lane kind of just closes out that lane for a long time, because you know that whatever you put down to push forward is not going to make it out alive. You kill the one giant skeleton, whatever survives that is going to die to the next giant skeleton bomb. So it closes out that lane, and it means that Kix cannot get any purchase on the lane that they've done the most damage to. Sandbox now switching lanes, Hog Rider and Lumberjack there, making it to the tower, ever so close. Inferno Tower again, MVP there, taking out the Hog Rider before he gets too much or anything done to the tower.
Even with the Magic Archer and the Musketeer available, still a few skeletons manage to find their way in. And once again, that Hog Rider having trouble getting through the units at the bridge. The log is going to be expended to ensure that that Hog Rider does not come through. Now, that bomb is going to get onto that Dark Prince because the giant skeleton was able to take out his shield. Got another Magic Archer in here. It is going to be the Inferno Tower to deal with this. Earthquake, of course, is going to be the answer for that. Now you've got a very healthy Lumberjack and Hog Rider. Very, very healthy, and that is going to be tower down. Kix looks like they are going to fall in game number 1.
Yeah, beautiful play. I mean, Sandbox Gaming just kept throwing everything at Kix. Anything they could, every time. It was always the Hog Rider, the giant skeleton. And it was the same push over and over and over again. And that attrition finally got to Kix. They broke down, and Sandbox Gaming took it.
All right, I think we're going to get a timeout here from Kix. Want to reassess the situation. A lot of Hog Riders being thrown at Kix with relative success. We saw Chronos get one game off of them in the 2v2s with the Hog Rider style decks. And look at all this. That is so brutal. That Magic Archer. So many shots there. I love watching the ability. I think Korean teams especially are really good at using the Magic Archer with the placement and getting those shots to connect. And then over here on the left, you've got a Lumberjack and a Hog Rider that's just not able to get through with the help of those bats. And they were never able to get a freeze for Kix. They, like you were talking about, they got so blocked up at that bridge, they just couldn't they couldn't build any steam.
Yeah, well, that time that we just saw with the Graveyard, they were looking to tank it up with the Baby Dragon, but Sandbox kind of blocked it out this time with the bats instead of the Giant Skeleton as well, so the Baby Dragon didn't push through to tank for the tower. If it did tank for the tower, that tower would have taken a lot more damage. So will Kicks bring the same deck? Will they bring something else? Sandbox, I think, might stick with the same deck because it did really well.
Sandbox fighting, let's go. We've got some Sandbox fans in the audience, and there's Onion, the other member of Kicks, looking on for his team. It's really fascinating, like, what kind of changes do you got to make here? You got to find some stuff that's pretty effective against the Hog Rider if you assume that that's what Sandbox is going to run against. So Goblin Cage, I feel like, is a good answer to this. But the problem becomes Sandbox played really well with that Lava Hound, and that's always going to be in the back of your mind.
But if you have the Goblin Cage, is it really that bad against the Lava Hound?
No.
I think it's a pretty good card regardless.
Yeah.
It's a safety pick if they go for Royal Hogs, if they go for Hog Rider, if they go for Lava Hound. The Goblin Cage is actually pretty good. And then even if they don't go for those cards, if they go for more of, like, let's say Double Dart Prince and a Giant, it's still really good against ground units too, because the Goblin Brawler deals a ton of damage still, even after that minor change in the last balance update. It's still a pretty good card.
Yeah, we've seen from time to time people try to get cheeky with that Giant Double Prince deck in the 2v2s. It's not very it's almost like a cheese pick now.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be one of the standard decks. Now it's like something you just kind of pull out of your pocket. I want to see if somebody's going to try Mortar. It's going to be Kicks with the Lava Hound. Immediately Sandbox is going to pull out a Miner and a Witch. I would love to see somebody try the Mortar decks. I saw those all over the West playoffs, so not all over, but here and there in the West playoffs.
And a Balloon and a Lumberjack down the left-hand side, meaning that they can't put too much Elixir on the right. Beautiful bomb tower placement there to distract that Balloon. The Rage is down from the Lumberjack, but the Balloon is not going to get a drop this time. And the Lava Hound cleaned up by that Hunter on the bottom right. 2048 remain down there.
Yeah, Pups get a little bit of damage in. They can use the log to defeat that Hunter and get a little extra tower damage as well. I like the bomb tower, just almost kind of the same idea to the Goblin Cage in this situation. So perfectly thought out by Kicks, a good addition to this deck, I feel like. Now they're just going to bridge spam a Lava Hound this time with an Inferno Dragon behind it.
There is the Cage too.
The Cage from Sandbox this time, and like you were talking about, you can buy some time, and then there's that Witch who's in there now, and great lightning here from Kicks eradicates the Witch.
Yeah, you were talking earlier about the use of lightning against the Witch, and we see it right there. We see the Fisherman here pull in the Giant Skeleton into the middle there. Is it just going to be out of range? The answer is yes, but it does activate the King Tower. Nice play there, but this Balloon, is it going to get a drop?
Whoa, whoa!
It is.
Ooh, just in time with that good snowball. Pushes it back into the Mega Minion to get that extra damage as well.
You can see JP right there wiping his hands. He's like, thank goodness that worked. Oh my goodness, like that's a sweaty palm moment. Like if that had connected, I think Kicks would have almost been in an unwinnable situation.
And I gotta say, advantage in my book, Kicks right now, going into the double elixir. I feel like they have some more answers available to what Sandbox has brought this time. That bomb tower, good enough to drag that out and get that Balloon down without even taking the death damage. There's a Witch, poison as well. Very, very effective against that Witch. And of course, you're gonna get the extra damage onto the Princess Tower as well. A snowball comes through, but a few belches from that Pup gonna get you down to 429 on the bottom right. You're pretty close to double spell range there.
Yeah, beautiful placement again on that bomb tower, making sure that it distracted both the Lumberjack and the Balloon. And again, it doesn't get anywhere near that tower. Kicks have got a phenomenal defense against these Balloons here with that bomb tower placement. And it's going to be hard for them to break through at all here.
Yeah, all Kicks has to do is play defense because the lightning is good enough to finish off the tower. There's a freeze. The snowball is going to buy them that extra second they need to get the win in game number 2.
Yeah, that was a much tidier performance in 2v2 from JP and Pedro, taking game 2 here. And I got to say, Lava Hound decks in 2v2, we've talked about this before. We talked like before broadcasts and stuff. If you play double Lava Hound at the same time, it's very hard to win. right? We've talked about this time and time again. And this time we saw Kicks. They both have the Lava Hound, but they never played them at the same time. They never went all in. They were never desperate for that damage. They just played it patiently. They knew that they could just chip away time and time again. And that's how you win if you both have Lava Hound.
Lumberjack, on the other hand, was available on the side of Sandbox and weren't really able to get it going. And I think to add on to your point, what you're talking about, when the Lava Hounds come, you just either use a Poison or a Lightning in the Lava Hound, maybe another unit behind it or whatever, like an Inferno Dragon or a Baby Dragon. That's all you need. You're pretty much going to get like 400 damage minimum, it feels like, out of it, barring an overcommitment to defense of Elixir from the defending team. In the meantime, then, you can just focus on defense yourself as Kicks or whatever team is playing the Lava Hound, and then you can, even with a Balloon, which is a scary unit, find the ways to keep it from, a lot of times, even getting death damage.
Yeah, and I mean, we said it during that match, that Bomb Tower pick was absolutely beautiful from Kicks. It was such a clutch card. And no matter where they played it, it always seemed to be effective. Like, it pulled the Balloon, and then if the Balloon wasn't there, it would pull the Lumberjack over. It would just deal so much damage to anything underneath it, and it was just phenomenally used by Kicks. Will they bring that same deck again? We're going to find out right now.
It's been really fascinating to see these giant skeletons play a role as well, whether it be clogging up the bridge or, in that case, activating the King Tower for Kicks, which makes a big difference. That, especially in 2v2, those two towers firing together deal a crazy amount of damage.
Yeah, and especially against a deck like Balloon, if you could push with the Snowball, the Balloon slightly right, that Balloon's never going to get through. And we see, again, the Lava Hound coming from Kicks here. It worked well the first time. Is it going to go well the second time? And it looks as though Kicks are bringing a very similar deck, if not the same at this point. Sandbox. Okay.
Nope. This is a lot of damage that's going to come through here. Kicks loaded up, and a beautiful Lightning cleans up a lot of the key units that Sandbox had. Once again, looking great here for Kicks. But what will be the win condition for Sandbox? Will it be the Balloon again? We see the Lumberjack. That's typically the unit it's paired up with, sometimes a Hog Rider as well.
Yeah, the Miner comes in here at the front of the tower. The Witchblade at the back, tried to distract it, tried to catch it. Got no dice there, and everything is just going down here. That tower, I think, is going to go down. The Mega Minion connects as well. That is gone. What is going to go on that top right side, though? The giant skeleton pulled again by that Fisherman at Kicks. And there we go. No damage done, no dice. Perfect defense. Froze out the Ram Rider remote. And this is looking over, and there's still 1 minute and 20 seconds left of this match.
Sandbox needs to figure something out here. They have to find a way to get value out of these pushes. And look at this. This time they're just going to use the Lightning in defense. They've already got a tower down. No reason to use it to cycle through to get damage onto those towers. This is so challenging now for Sandbox. It feels like Kicks has just got them completely read like a book.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time. This is the problem of bringing the same deck when you lose, or a very similar style deck. Your opponent already has the read on you. They've already beaten you once. Chances are they're going to do it again.
And Kicks doesn't even need to use the Lava Hound, so that's a bunch of Elixir that they're saving. You might even try something wacky like a double Balloon push if you're Sandbox. Normally I wouldn't advise it, but there's the Lightning. That's going to clean up so much. Okay, the freeze and a Snowball and a Mega Minion, though, is plenty. A nice try, but they're going to have to load up with something big. I just don't feel like there's enough time now.
No, that was looking very, very scary. The freeze came down. The Balloon was in throwing distance, almost, of that tower. And no dice again, and it looks like Kicks have this 2v2 match all wrapped up. We're down to the last few seconds. Sandbox throwing out the emotes, everyone throwing out emotes. Kicks Gaming showed just how good Lava Hound is in 2v2 when you play smart.
I love the excitement you see from JP. He is always thrilled whenever they win. He gets his team fired up, and once again, a huge win for Kicks. This is an undefeated 2v2 squad. You cannot go away from them the rest of the playoffs. I don't care. They're too good.
Undefeated. They played once in the regular season. They played once last week as well as 2v2, right?
Yeah,
so
and they won.
Yeah. So I mean, undefeated. That's 1, 2, 3, math 4. 4-0 right now in 2v2. That is almost as good as Ken Sameshi and Kitashian at Fab Gaming.
They're getting
it's
there.
A better percentage.
Yes,
it's 100%.
It is a better percentage. I wouldn't say they're better yet, but man, oh man, can you imagine that 2v2 if we get to it in the finals, if Kix is able to somehow Royal Road this and come through and win every single game today. And then keep this in mind, everybody at home. If Kix somehow wins against Sandbox, this is in no way set in stone. IceLaw is great, and Sandbox we have seen is quite skilled at King of the Hill. But let's say Kix gets there. They get to OGN, and then they beat them. Then they have to go to a tiebreaker King of the Hill. Oh my God.
I don't think I'm ready for that. Like,
No.
Nothing in my life has prepared me for a King of the Hill. Best of 5, I think, if I remember correctly. It's a best of 3.
Best of 5. Best of 5, yeah.
First of 3, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Same thing.
I'm not prepared. Yeah. Yeah. Man, it's been a long day. We've only been on for an hour. Already the games have taken everything out of me, but we're going to get to it.
Well, these 2v2s have been so excellent so far. Really good back and forth. Both of them, of course, went to Game 3, so that's always fun to see. Now Kix is going to go back to Legend, and Sandbox goes back to this guy who has been pretty strong for them as a 1v1 player.
Look at that perfect 50% win ratio.
All across the board.
Yeah.
But he's good, man. I like IceLaw because he's willing to try kind of unique and off-meta things from time to time, and that tends to be successful for a lot of players in Clash Royale League Asia. We see this with Dandelion, Legend as well from time to time. That Royal Ghost pick that we talked about before, so smart.
But is this the time to do it? Your team's life, your team's survival in this tournament right now relies on these games. Would you throw something wacky in there? That's a difficult call to make, because if you lose, you feel like you're the villain.
Yes, I mean, I'm personally more of a risk taker. I like to try unconventional and unorthodox things in the moment to try to squeak out a win or something like that. I'm a big fan of. There's not a lot of cheese in Clash Royale. It's kind of like not really possible to do exactly, but you see decks that are off meta. Those are the decks that I call cheese when they're off meta. I love seeing that, and personally that's my style, because I think it throws your opponents off.
Yeah, well, we are going to get into game 1 of this 1v1 between IceLaw and Legend. Kix have match point to go 2-0 today. Sandbox looking to get to this final game against OGN, get some revenge for that last game last week. But
Spellbait.
See how it goes. Yep.
Looks like Spellbait here from Legend, so it's going to be a little bit different, changing up his deck slightly. Will it be the Mega Knight No Spell variant or some other version? With the Goblin Cage here, definitely starts to feel like the No Spell variant of this bait deck.
Yeah, and I mean, the issue is already IceLaw. First 4 cards now are perfect answers to everything that Legend has in this deck. If the deck is the one we're both thinking of, Barb Barrel, Valkyrie, Baby Dragon, and the Furnace are all good answers to the Wall Breakers.
Exactly.
The Barrel, the Goblin Cage, like everything.
The Witch.
IceLaw has, yeah.
There is no Witch in this one.
Ooh, does get one hit.
And immediately Legend's going to follow it up. The Tornado is going to be here for IceLaw. So now we're just kind of questioning what IceLaw's win condition card is going to be. Typically, you'll see it be a Royal Giant or a Graveyard. One of those two can fit in, depending on exactly what IceLaw feels comfortable with.
Yeah, I think it might be Royal Giant. I got more of a feeling it's going to be Royal Giant than anything else. And I'm not 100% sure why I think that. It just feels better.
You have those moments where you just feel that it's going to be this card, and then you're wrong.
Yeah, yep.
It happens to be way too much. All right, the Poison going to be used to take out that Dark Goblin, which is a nice exchange. Indeed, it will be the No Spell Mega Knight deck here for Legend. So, IceLaw, with that Poison, though, now I'm starting to feel like Graveyard.
Yeah, with the Poison, it does feel like Graveyard. We see the bats come in with the Mega Knight. There's the Barrel. And a lot of elixir has been spent, but the tornado is there to activate the King Tower. Does get 2 stabs, 3 stabs, 4 stabs. Wow. Hero Goblin right there.
That was nice, having that Mega Knight there to tank it as one Goblin. They don't completely die to that tornado. Keeps it alive. And now we're getting a decent little push here on the right. Will that Ice Wizard get onto the tower? He does. You get a Fire Spirit on there as well. That's a fair amount of damage. Each Fire Spirit does about an Earthquake's worth of damage.
Yeah, well, we see the Mega Knight here just leaping his way across the arena. There is the, perfect timing on that bar barrel. Beautiful, but Wallbreaker's coming down the left. Is there a Valkyrie to answer? No, he's just going to let it go. All attention is on that right, and the Mega Knight comes down and just cleans that up. And now it's feeling kind of rough for IceLaw.
Yeah, IceLaw needs to find a way to get one of his tankier units, whether that just be the Barbarian from the Barb Barrel or the Valkyrie across ahead of everything to get a graveyard going. And now there's just nothing available for IceLaw. There is such good defense from Legend. We're getting some splash from time to time from the Fire Spirits, from the Furnace, and a little bit of Ice Wizard damage, but then that allows Legend to just open up onto the left side.
Yeah, and this Dark Goblin getting so much work done. Standing in the middle there, is he going to take out the Valkyrie? No, not quite, but almost. No stabs from the Goblins this time, and the Mega Knight is going to get taken down before it gets near the tower. And there is the Graveyard going in without the tank, so that's not going to be as good. The Dark Goblin played at the back. Couple of swipes in here, good RNG. For IceLaw, down to a 966 with the poison as well. That's a lot of damage. And the Baby Dragon does get one spit there. What are we going to see? Is Legend going to be able to make this push work? There is the beautiful, beautiful Barb Barrel again. Perfect timing.
Yeah, good read on that Barb Barrel. Now we're going to try the Wall Breakers on the left. Another push coming in for IceLaw. Furnace going to counter them. He doesn't have the elixir available to try the graveyard here, though, so we're going to use the Goblin Cage to buy just a little bit of time. We're going to try the graveyard. Is the poison going to come through? That Dark Goblin steps outside of poison range, but there is only the Goblin Gang inside of there to deal with it. Looks like they are going to successfully be able to do it, but it looks like IceLaw is quickly turning this around.
Yeah, Legend is very much on the back foot. One more Graveyard Poison with a couple of hits from the Graveyard will finish this one off. There is the Graveyard. The Baby Dragon is there to tank. So the Goblin Gang comes down. Mega Knight is there, but the poison is right on top. Cleans up the Dark Goblin. Cleans up the Goblin Gang, and that is it. IceLaw. All right, that is a statement. Perfect read on the game. His deck pretty much countered what Legend had once it found the right cycle. It took a while for the synchronization to happen, but once it did, he barely took damage.
It was really nicely done to change up his style and finally find ways to get good enough defense, switching to using the Barbarian Barrel only for the Goblins from the Goblin Barrel. That is it. Barrel versus Barrel was a big change up for him because he gets a positive elixir trade out of that. He's going to have to find other ways to deal with that Princess. He does have that Ice Wizard, which has deceptively long range and can take down that Princess in 2 shots.
Yeah, and I mean, that was the turning point. Once he matched all those answers to the cards that Legend had, Legend got no extra damage. 1260 on that tower was there for a very, very, very long time.
Once that Baby Dragon was able to get just a little bit across to start tanking for the graveyard, that's when things start getting bad. Exactly. Look, as soon as that Baby Dragon crosses that river, the graveyard is immediately below it, and that time Legend got caught out cycling with that Dark Goblin, so he stepped into that poison range as well, which added kind of insult to injury there.
Yeah, well, will IceLaw be able to beat Legend one more time and take us to a King of the Hill? That it's rough because we've seen Legend just manhandle his last game. Is he going to be able to do it for the next 2 games? He does have the tools. He is good enough to do this. He is good enough to beat IceLaw. The question is, can he do it tonight?
If IceLaw continues to bring counters to the Mega Knight Witch Miner, or Mega Knight, kind of wall breakers kind of situation that we're seeing a lot, then maybe it's going to be hard for Legend since he seems to be leaning on those a little bit. But here are the Archers. Now, Archers don't always mean Expo anymore because they're all over the place in the meta now. There is that Night Witch, so is this going to be the double Witch deck from IceLaw?
It could very well be. Just pointing out, it won't be an Elixir Golem because Elixir Golem is not available this week again. So we see Musketeer here defending against that Night Witch. It's going to go down to the poison. All right, slither of HP. I think if she sneezes, she might just hurt herself and just pass out anyway.
Nope, she's got to get zapped. That's good enough. Looking like the balloon, potentially from Legend. And there is that Fisherman from IceLaw who's going to pull in that Ice Golem.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have the Giant Skeleton. Legend didn't bring it this time. Otherwise, that would have been a lot of damage getting done there. Okay, so it is the Double Witch from IceLaw, and there is the Balloon. What does he have for air? He only has the Night Witch so far. There is the Giant Snowball. He's going to get a connection with the Balloon. There's one hit. I think it's going to be two. The bats from the Night Witch didn't respawn in time. Is it going to be three? Is it going to be tower down? It is. That tower is down. One balloon, one tower down. That is efficiency right there from Legend. But he did take a lot of damage on the top right, and he did take quite a bit of damage already on that top left.
On the top right, you had the Miner and the Witch go into town together. It's going to be the Giant, which is typically what we see with the Double Witch. So there is a little bit of extra damage in favor for IceLaw, but Legend still has two Princess Towers and can try to defend here. That Brawler really tearing into that Giant. He hit so hard here. We're going to get the Night Witch coming down as there isn't much air in the way of this push from Legend, and that's going to be the Miner on the opposite side of those archers.
Going for the 3 crown here. All right. He plays it in the pocket. Not in the pocket, but plays it on the left-hand side. Does get one drop.
All right.
Oh, almost got the second.
This is fascinating. The Miner's wailing away onto that King Tower as well. It was in there distracting a lot for that Balloon. So maybe Legend feeling like he can defend these Miner pushes well enough because he knows that IceLaw is going to have to build up steam to take down his tower, except now he's in poison range. So this is okay, and he can just counter on here, take advantage of the Elixir.
Oh, the Witch has completely abandoned the Balloon, and that Balloon is going to get as much damage as I think it did last time. There's one hit. It's going to get a second. Is it going to be tower down? I think it is.
That's tower down.
There we go. Legend. That is a way to answer game one.
Taking a page out of MeConBoya's book there, switching over to that Miner Balloon, and it just looked like IceLaw I thought there was definitely a chance that IceLaw could do that, even after he lost his first Princess Tower, because he had done so much damage to the top. I mean, the top left was at like 1,600-ish health. The right one is at like about a little under 400, I believe. So I felt like there was still definitely a chance, but the problem with the Double Witch deck is you're trying to build up steam. And when you're trying to build up steam, your opponent can throw a balloon on the other side, and then you're left with not many great answers because, like you were saying, the Witch is your balloon counter.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, Legend, this deck is a beautiful counter to, like, for someone who prepares against Legend, this deck is beautiful. Legend has not played Balloon in a very long time. His last few decks have been like Hog, Executioner Valkyrie, Royal Giant Exionado, Minor Wallbreaker Hunter, Minor Wallbreaker Valkyrie, like he hasn't played. He's even played 3 Musketeers, but he has not played Balloon. So if you spend a week preparing to go against Legend, you wouldn't have expected the Balloon, and that is why we only saw really one counter from IceLaw.
Really smart stuff here from Legend. I love that explanation. He's coming through doing something you do not expect, and that's what a lot of times it's about in Clash Royale. Now, occasionally you can kind of shoot yourself in the foot doing that, but when your opponent has basically 0 answers to a Balloon, that is just going to be an easy GG. Not easy. That was close. I shouldn't say easy,
yeah.
But you do have the advantage.
Yeah, game 1, I think, showed Legend that IceLaw was prepared to face him because he had every answer available. So in game 2, Legend was like, all right, I haven't done this in a while. Plays Balloon. Wonderful play.
I love it.
What is Legend going to do and what is IceLaw going to do? Because that throws a spanner in your preparation, right? You've prepared for a week expecting Legend. Maybe you expected Kicks to beat, expected them to beat Chronos.
I feel like This is so hard for me now. Like, I'm actually really confused, and I can totally understand why Sandbox took a timeout here. Of course, their season is on the line right now, as this could potentially be match point for Kicks. But now you've, like you're saying, you saw something so different than what Legend usually does. How are you going to, you know, be able to adjust to that? Because you're going to have to now bring a deck that accounts for that balloon. But at the same time, you're going to have to account for the fact that he's been loving that wall breaker. Okay, this is the Bandit now. And the Bandit has been seen mostly with the Mega Knight and the Witch and the Miner. There's a version of that that's been floating around. So, but it's going to be the Royal Ghost. So maybe we're seeing some old school IceLaw.
Well, we'll find out. This does look, and right now it's walking like a Pekka Bridge spam deck from IceLaw. But from Legend, could be anything. Furnace, Archers, Mega Minion, Log.
Yeah, there's a lot that fits in that.
Yeah. All right, there is the Magic Archer. Doesn't get the angle needed to hit the tower. IceLaw just missing it. And
now he's got it.
The Battle Ram, yeah, the Battle Ram does miss the tower, but the Magic Archer got so much work through everything there. 1494 remaining, and it's slowly falling apart here for Legend at this point. Will he be able to stabilize in time before taking critical damage?
Pretty sure this is just going to be a Royal Giant deck from Legend, which is real problematic if this is the Pekka variant from IceLaw. Now, there is a quick cycle one that doesn't use the Pekka and just uses a spell, but...
There's also the Mega Knight version.
Yes,
that
the
could
Mega Knight.
work.
Yep.
Mega Knight version kind of works a little bit better in the usual meta we see with the wall breakers. But it could be anything. It could be either of those.
Yeah, if it's Pekka, that is real bad news for Legend. Especially falling behind this far early. And look at this, IceLaw saw that Ghost, saw the Royal Ghost be very effective for Legend, and he's getting it done himself as well with just bringing the old school. Like I said, sometimes you go back to this Pekka Battle Ram deck, and there it is indeed.
There is the Pekka, and one hit from the Royal Giant, 2 hits from the Royal Giant. A little bit of damage getting done there. Not too shabby for Legend, but he does have to defend this Pekka. Archer's played down. Doesn't distract the Pekka. Is the Pekka? Ooh, Log had to be used there. Otherwise, the Pekka would have got that swing in. And what that does, that opens up the Battle Ram to come down that right-hand side. Furnace played in the middle, but does he have anything else to defend? Only one Barbarian gets pulled, but that is all that is needed. The Valkyrie placement is pretty good right there. But the Bandit on the left-hand side does get that charge in and does get a couple of hits with that wooden sword.
All right, we're going to have to get a Royal Giant in here somewhere, and you're going to have to be ready for the Pekka to be behind it. What is your answer? Oh boy, IceLaw is going to bridge spam a Pekka here. This is really aggressive from IceLaw. There is really good defense available. The Poison is going to let that Battle Ram get through because everything else was distracted as well. Tower's going to go down.
And the Royal Ghost again getting a hit onto the tower. IceLaw showing what he was made of here. Takes game 3. Keeps Sandbox in this playoffs. Whew. Good games.
It's crazy how powerful still that deck is. Sometimes you just, like I said at the beginning, you just go back to what works.
Yeah, comfort pick.
You comfort pick, and that deck is one of the most comfortable. So now we get our first King of the Hill of the day, and you can see a little bit of worry starting to form because this looks all too familiar to Kicks. This looks way too familiar.
Are we going to see Sado just...
it has to be, right?
It has to be Sado first, based on last week's performance where he just manhandled, basically pile drive them through the floor last week. But anyway, we saw the Battle Ram. That time, like, oh, look at that Magic Archer. It's such a good card again.
The Mega Minion just turned enough in towards the center because, you know, it has to. And that is when that Magic Archer just starts lighting things up for IceLaw. And there's just nothing. This deck is just not that great against the Pekka Battle Ram. I mean, anytime you've got an RG, you have to start doing weird stuff, and there's no E-Wiz in Legends Pekka, in his RG deck, I mean. So a lot of times you can get some extra RG shots and make it kind of worth it against a Pekka deck if you have an E-Wiz and you're able to pair those two together. But in this variant, you've got Archers instead because you're worried about the Witch and the Wall Breakers.
I will say, it does feel like Legend kind of misplaced the Mega Minion. I think if he'd played it more towards where the Archers were, he would have stopped the battle ram. But I still think he would have lost, but he would have stopped the battle ram from connecting and maybe give himself a tiny little window. And you can see it.
We knew it.
Sado in first place.
Sado, Shinshu, IceLaw, and then Pedro, IMJP, and Legend. Is he going to do it again? I mean, if Sado does it again and he all kills, I'm just going to lose my absolute mind. I'm just going to...
It's both teams. I will say that Kicks on paper has the scarier King of the Hill. Pedro, JP, and Legend are really good. Shinshu is kind of a little bit of a weak link for Sandbox Gaming. But Sado and IceLaw, based on King of the Hill performances, it's hard.
They're good. They're both real good. I mean, in the regular season, Sado was 3-3, and one of those was an all-kill on Bren Esports. IceLaw was 4-2. So they're both pretty good at King of the Hill, but then of course we saw last week that, you know, Sado can work some serious magic.
Yeah, I mean, but even if you beat Sado, who has all-killed Bren Esports, as you said, you have to get through IceLaw, who has beaten Fav Gaming. He finished that off. He beat Jack and Ken Sameshi. He took out Game with, I believe, took out 2 of their players. That's rough. Like, I can't see how you can get through this.
And I mean, you can't prepare for Sado, all right? Yeah. Look at the decks he played. All right, he played Giant Skeleton Graveyard. This was last week when he all killed kids. Giant Skeleton Graveyard. Then he played the Royal Hogs, with the heal. This was the heal.
Oh, the heal.
Right? The heal insanity that just completely shook everyone up, as no one expected that. And then he just played a 2.4 wall breaker cycle with the Miner and the Valkyrie and the E-Wiz. Or not a 2.4, excuse me, at an Inferno Tower, so it's more like 2.9. But it's like, still, he played 3 vastly different decks. And so it's hard to prepare for him. So does Pedro just go for, like we were saying, comfort picks here? Play something you know that you've played a bajillion times, you played it against a bajillion different things, and you know how to find ways to get it done.
But I mean, if you bring that, would Sado already have a counter deck prepared?
Probably.
The strategy of King of the Hill is, it's
hard.
It's that. This is fine. Like,
yeah.
All right. Pedro, I think he has a comfort pick emote deck. Right? Everyone needs it. Everyone has one emote they do at the beginning of the game because it's their lucky talisman.
Mine are just the most BM things I can find. Like, the more BM the emote is, the more likely it is to be in my...
Why doesn't it surprise me that a Royal Giant Sparky player would put only bad mannered emotes in his emote deck?
I have no idea. Okay, so Magic Archer from Sado. There's still quite a bit of options with that Miner now as well that you can kind of throw in here with the Magic Archer. So kind of waiting to see it. The Mega Knight is going to be Pedro's choice. There is a bomb tower. Now, one of those Spear Goblins does lock on, gets a few spears in, but that is going to be a dead Mega Knight with some help of those bats.
Yeah, both Mega Knight and Fisherman there cleaned up almost expertly, giving Sado like a 1 elixir lead at this point. It's a very slim lead, but we can see that it might turn into something more. There's the wall breakers. There's the Miner from Pedro. Does he have an answer? There's the Valkyrie. Not enough, and hit goes through. Beautiful Fisherman play there, but it's not going to pull the Valkyrie, I don't think. So he's got to be able to defend Pedro. There we go. There's the Goblin Gang. Is that going to be enough to pull in the Fisherman? It is. So that Valkyrie is officially dealt with.
Sado going with what looks like the 2.4 cycle with the Bomb Tower, Valkyrie Miner, and that kind of thing. Magic Archer as well, just trying to really, keep your opponent off guard. But there was some wall breakers that got in on the bottom right with a bit of a late placement with that Valkyrie because that Bomb Tower was already used to defend a Mega Knight push. Really smart by Pedro to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and he might be able to take advantage again once he gets through here. Mega Knight doesn't connect with the Bomb Tower, but the Miner does connect through, and the bats are just slightly in the wrong place there. There's the Giant Snowball to clean that up. and everything is distracted with the Mega Knight. That miner is just going absolute ham on the tower. But a balloon from Sado here with the Valkyrie to tank. What does he have to answer? There's the Dark Goblin. Does he have anything to stop him from coming in? The miner is there as well. Giant Snowball isn't going to be enough. The bats are there.
Oh, that is such good bats placement. It completely displaces the balloon, moves it to the side, and keeps it from getting a drop. Still gets the death damage. A couple shots from the Dark Goblin. Now we're going to load up another balloon push coming in with the miner in the front. Is the defense going to be able to be there again from Pedro? The bats are good enough once again. Pedro playing excellent defense.
Yeah, this defense is giving me a heart attack right now. I don't know how he feels for kicks, but Pedro gets the tower down, and you can see the relief on his face. He has taken out their kryptonite. The guy who all-killed them last week is no longer in contention.
That's a really fascinating deck that Sado brought. And these are like kind of, I love when players throw little tweaks into these things. Throwing a balloon in there, because what you're doing is you're trying to bait your opponent into thinking it's just like this quick cycle bomb tower deck that we see from time to time, where you're just trying to keep things going. It's like Valkyrie, Magic Archer, Bomb Tower, Miner, Wall Breakers. So you're expecting Wall Breakers to be the final card here. But you got to think something's up if you're Pedro, because he's not playing the Wall Breakers. And it's going to be the balloon instead. So a really interesting change, but Pedro pretty well prepared for it. This first one was a little bit dicey, but just in time with the elixir with the bats. I mean, he was literally down to zip.
Yeah, but what was beautiful for Sado is he waited for the Valkyrie to be 1, maybe 2 shots away from dying. Loads in that miner right on the tower. So the Princess Tower actually connected with the miner instead of the balloon, which was encroaching on the tower. So Sado had the right idea. Everything went right. Pedro's defense, though, whew, it was beautiful.
Just really good. He is incredible, and Shin2 has a tough situation in front of him now. Although Shin2's been doing pretty well in the ladder, it looks like. 73-27 is pretty good right now. That'll put you up in the top couple hundred for sure. So we haven't seen much of him, though, this season at all. He's only played a couple 2v2s, didn't go well. And he played one King of the Hill, and he beat Donnie and then lost to Jack.
Wow. So he can take victories. Sandbox needs someone who can at least take one person. As much as IceLaw can carry and can reverse all kill, you don't want to push your luck. You want to try and take at least one player down, so that if you do need to go to IceLaw, you know he has an easier time, because taking Pedro, then JP, then Legend, that would be an uphill mountain, man. That's rough. That's
really
a hard one. Yeah.
That's really, really.
It's like playing Dark Souls with only your toes.
It's like playing Dark Souls on a slide whistle. You know, those things are like, ooh,
A penny whistle?
yeah.
All right, so Shin2 throws out the miner. We see miner in nearly every deck right now. This card is so versatile, and it literally shows nothing, but, you know, we do usually see miner wall breakers, and there is a Goblin Cage and just instantly blows them up.
All right, Pedro, are we thinking Lava Hound here, potentially with a Baby Dragon and a Gob Cage? Definitely makes you feel like that's a potential here, and we'll see it with the Witch, though. Maybe not.
Yeah, the Witch is an interesting choice. The Fisherman does get one hit, and nothing too big. And we do see the Witch versus Witch.
Yeah.
Which Witch will Witch out the Witch?
It all depends on the, like, what's going on with these. Oh, now the Mega Knight's going to answer that question for us real quick, as he's going to get pulled in by this Fisherman. It's going to be a Mega Knight from Pedro, so a little bit of trickery at the beginning, but just that Mega Knight Witch stuff. So it's going to look pretty similar from both players in a way.
Yeah, and the miner is getting a lot of damage done, and there is the graveyard. Okay, just in time, the Mega Knight just crossed the bridge in order to block, and those skeletons are getting things done. The zap comes in very, very late. 4-8, 4-3, 52-8-3. All right, Pedro pretty much sealed that tower at this point.
This is fascinating. This is an absolutely fascinating deck from Pedro. You start out, and it looks like with those first two cards that he's just going to play something like Lava Hound. Then the Witch and the Mega Knight come down, and you're like, huh.
Maybe wall breakers?
Yeah, right. You're like, well, is this going to be some kind of hybrid? You just like the Goblin Cage because it's really good against wall breakers? No. Turns out you're getting some beef to tank for the graveyard.
Yeah, and I mean, it's working right now for Pedro, but he does have to deal with this Witch.
Ooh.
And where's the Fisherman
what is that
going?
Fisherman doing? What in the heck was that?
The Fisherman decided to go on a little detour around an island right there. And that kind of does bring Shin2 back into this match, especially with the poison coming down too.
All right, Baby Dragon's tanking for the graveyard. Some good skeletons are getting some decent damage. That poison is not covering the bottom here. That is going to be a lot of elixir burn for that top left Princess Tower. The Goblin Cage, well enough to handle the wall breakers. Now, that actually is a fair amount of damage, though, being done to that King Tower, about half.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to feel like maybe the Fisherman has kind of put Pedro on a little bit of a tilt here. Maybe that's really going to affect his mentality. And right now, he needs every little advantage he can. He needs to be 100% into the game. Doesn't catch the Miner, so the Witch is going to have to deal with that.
He's just got to keep playing a little bit of defense, see if he can open up a way to get the graveyard through. It is a lot harder when the King Tower is activated to get your graveyard going. Those wall breakers don't even get to that Gob Cage, so that is pretty nice for Pedro. That buys him some more time. His Snowball Poison is excellent against that Witch. It cleans her up so you don't have to deal with her. Now is he going to try that graveyard? He's got a healthy Baby Dragon here. Nope, he has to play defense. He's worried about the Mega Knight.
Yeah, you have to play defense. Like, putting down that graveyard, you only get one shot, really, to put that down again. Because otherwise, like, there's a potential to just have your towers obliterated by Shin2. So he needs to find a smart opportunity. These wall breakers go into the Goblin Cage. The Fisherman is going to pull the Miner. Doesn't distract it enough, though. Still takes a couple more hits. This is incredibly close.
Right. Any unit pulled by the Fisherman, if it's still within the same distance of whatever it was attacking before, will continue to attack whatever it attacked before, no matter how far you move it. So it's still right next to that King Tower, so it pulls it still right next to it. Now we're getting some pretty substantial damage. That is a Mega Knight up on the top left, wailing away. The wall breakers got through, and that is so much damage just in time. Is Pedro going to be able to pull this out? It is looking desperate for him.
Yeah, Shin2 threw up his hands. I thought he already won, but this graveyard is coming in. There is a Baby Dragon to tank. The Night Witch is there. Zap comes down. Is it going to be enough?
The Witch is locked on. She hits like a truck. The skeletons are able to buy some time, and it is just in time for Pedro.
Oh, I think Shin2 pulled his foot off the gas a little bit too soon. Bringing that window, opening it ever so slightly for Pedro. Pedro, like a mosquito in the middle of the night, finds the tiniest of cracks and gets in.
Oh boy. I mean, it looked like that might be done, and maybe I think Shin2 might have got a little bit greedy with that early poison, that naked poison. Nothing else is in that poison. I know it's low, but
he threw his hands up as well, like he already won. And I mean, oh man, it's organizing my thoughts right now. Pedro never got that kind of push off again. That first push just took the tower, and that was it. He never quite got the same amount of purchase again. The Fisherman, I feel, kind of let Shin2 back into the game. The Fisherman going a roundabout way, and that looked rough. One explosion, okay.
Look
so
how much
we're
is
down to 7.552, okay.
Yeah, it's okay, so he pulls it off. Now there is...
He was expecting one more hit from the Mega Knight.
Right.
And the Fisherman just pulled in time. I think that's what it was. And Shin2 puts his hands up. He's like, yeah, I've won.
Yep, there's an extra 220, and it'd be basically GG there. But now, then, you've got problems. You got a Fisherman in the pocket. You got a Witch. And down goes a Princess Tower. Really nicely turned around by Pedro. But yeah, I think a little bit of anticipation from Shin2 that was not well placed.
Yeah, and now it leaves it all to IceLaw. Can he reverse sweep kicks? Every time I feel like I see IceLaw in the King of the Hill, I feel like he all kills. I know it's not true. I look at his stats, he hasn't all-killed that much, but it just feels that way because he does bring it home for his team more often than not.
He's so good, and there's definitely an air of confidence about him. He's a very skilled player, but man, oh man, I don't know how you 3-0 against this lineup. It's because last time it was Onion instead of Legend for Kicks in their King of the Hill, and we'll see.
Is that the Sandbox?
I don't know what that was.
Was that trying to do Kicks?
Was it Kicks?
It's really hard to tell.
I think it was Kicks. Let's go.
No, that's
IceLaw's
IceLaw's celebration. I think that's
is that what he does?
That's IceLaw's celebration, I think.
I don't know. I'm not up on all these cool kids and they're dabbing and they're teeing. Have you seen this one where they do this to people? The T-posing? Oh my god.
Are we the old generation now? Kids my day,
Get
we
off
used
my
to do
lawn.
Degeneration X and stuff like that.
Oh, that
yeah.
one. Ooh, yeah, that one was one to make the parents angry.
That's the whole audience have no idea, either no idea what that is, or they're like, you two are too old to be doing this. It's one way or the other. Okay, Magic Archer does get purchased through that furnace, closing that out almost instantly. The spirits hit the bats. The miner is not going to get caught, is going to get caught by a Valkyrie there.
So looking like this bomb tower miner quick cycle from Pedro, but then we saw at the end, with usually it's with the wall breakers, but we saw Sato opt to throw a balloon in there instead. The witch in here for IceLaw, and here it is. It's going to be the wall breaker variant. So quick cycle, the zap plus the Valkyrie able to deal with that miner and those wall breakers, mitigating the damage. But it looks like this should be pretty good defense for Pedro.
Yeah, but is Pedro going to be able to stop that Valkyrie? The Valkyrie's getting onto the tower. The Magic Archer isn't going to be able to stop it quick enough. Does manage to take out the bat before he gets a hit. Like, bats deceptively do a ton of damage.
So this could actually be a balloon deck from IceLaw. There is a variant that has all of these cards in it, but you could fit a couple other things in there, and oh boy, Magic Archer shots.
Magic Archer with the Valkyrie in front too. Valkyrie doesn't connect to the tower, but the Magic Archer is locked on right there. So much damage with the miner as well. IceLaw's happy to let this go, but he's got to have... Oh, he has no elixir left. I thought he had a little bit more elixir than he did, so he had to let it go. He was empty. He was spent.
That bat spam was fantastic. It forced so much out of IceLaw because it gets onto that Valkyrie. He's got to zap it, and then that, like you're saying, the miner's just going to town.
And Wallbreaker's played on the left-hand side. The bats are there. Are they going to get one? Ooh, IceLaw. Your team needs you right now. And these are slight things that are just going to push the favor. But there is the balloon. The balloon is coming in, and the bomb tower from Pedro is going to be quite nice, especially with the bats. Didn't zap them all there. The miner again at the front, not caught by the Valkyrie. So that tower is down. And it looks as though Pedro, with the laughing goblin emoji, this is a man of your own heart, throwing out the BM right now.
30 seconds left. It's going to take this push here. The bomb tower is down, but the bats are there as well. Is the zap available? Quickly done this time, but the bomb tower is buying so much time. The Magic Archer is still alive because there are no spells available to completely wipe him out. This is going to be Pedro getting revenge on Sandbox Gaming with a 3-0 of his own.
Oh, Pedro has just shadowed Sandbox. He got the 3-0. That is how you get revenge for what happened last week. You take them to town in the King of the Hill. And you can see Maluntin there was just like, when are you going to come in? When are you going to come give us a hug? Like, we need you, man. We need to celebrate this. They are going to the final game. We were talking to Kicks before today, and they were just like, yeah, we're going to have to face OGN today. And we're like, dude, you got 2 more matches first. Nah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We got this.
Well, for me, this is the matchup that I've been talking about since the early part of the season. This is the matchup I wanted to see these two teams go at it, because I thought that these were our two, in terms of like 1v1 potential, these are our 2 strongest teams. And I'm not going to be too surprised if we go to that tiebreaker King of the Hill. Not only, I think, are we going to see a King of the Hill in this matchup, we might see the tiebreaker King of the Hill as well, because this is such an evenly matched situation here with Kicks and OGN Entis.
Yeah, OGN Entus and Kicks were 2nd and 3rd overall in the season, so we are going to see absolute fireworks, but we do need to take 15-minute break to let the teams prepare for the next matchup. So we will be back in a short while with OGN Entus versus Kicks. Stay tuned.
let's go.
It is time, everyone. The winner's final match from Group 1 is about to begin. It is going to be OG and Entis going up against Kix, who looks very, very strong right now. An impressive all-kill from Pedro against Sandbox, getting revenge from the first week of the playoffs leads them here. I'm Paper Thin. With me is Simon as we get ready for this. Now, this might not be the last quote-unquote match, Simon. If OG and Entis loses, then we go into a King of the Hill.
Yeah, so the reason for this is it is a double elimination tournament. OG and Entis have not lost so far, so they get a second life. Kix right now are on absolute fire. They have made Clash Royale look easy. This is looking like a kindergartner's game, man. Like the way they're playing, this is like 1 + 1 = 2 level stuff. They're just playing out of this world. But 2v2, we see One Crown and Thunder banning Miner, Pedro and JP again banning Tornado, and then Legend again in the 2v2. They have found something that works in this team. Maluntin there probably for emotional support on the desk. Like he's just been sitting there with his slippers on, you know, just relaxing.
He's a high energy guy. He goes over there and he's high-fiving and fist pumping and yelling. These four guys are the most emotional team we have here in terms of when they win. They are definitely the ones who celebrate. And then you got Dandelion, of course, the assassin for OG and Entis. This guy is absolute magic. This is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. I cannot wait for this to get started. The 2v2 is going to be excellent. I think you've got to give a slight edge to Kix right now in the 2v2. They're playing so well.
So this match is kind of going to prove whether a hot streak can outwin tiredness. Because Kix have been already playing for 2 hours, 12 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
That can take its toll. Like some people will go, it's video games, what do you mean it takes its toll? But the mental taxation of playing this many games can have an effect. OGN come in fresh, but sometimes that can be a negative. They haven't warmed up. Kix are warmed up. They are ready to go.
That's true. There is something to be said about when you come into this, like, can you maintain a mentality? Can you stay positive? Even if maybe you lose this first game, you got to stay positive. They were able to do it against Sandbox. That's going to be hard to do, continuing to go forward. But like you were saying, you're warmed up. It makes a big difference in Clash Royale. That's speed. To be able to select your card and then drop it where you want on the proper spot. We see people missing Valkyries. If you place the Valkyrie right, it will take down the wall breakers before they get to the tower. If you place it wrong, one of them gets through.
And on the flip side, they're going to be fatigued. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. I would have liked to have seen both of these teams absolutely fresh off the bat. But I am so excited for Kix versus OGN. Are we gonna get into it? Come on! I don't want to wait anymore. Here we go.
We got to the drum fill, so it took a little bit longer than usual in the song. That's when I know. Like there was one time it took so long that we got into a part of the music I'd never heard before, and I'm like, whoa, this song is going somewhere. It's actually pretty good.
Okay, so we see Goblin Cage coming down here. OGN enters. That's kind of a security against any kind of wall breaker shenanigans at this point. Just investing a little bit of that elixir for later. It's going to come in handy against this giant skeleton that's coming in. And there is the Hog Rider. All right. Hog Rider's usage rate this season just increased. Oh, what a freeze!
A beautiful freeze stops the Fisherman wind up and does a ton of damage for Kix. Now it is going to be OG and Entis who is going to load up with a Lava Hound and try to return the favor, but plenty of elixir still available for Kix on the defense. What will be the answer to the Lava Hound? Is there an Inferno Tower? Yes, there is. It comes down here, and is there a lightning? Yes. it will be lightning from OG and Entis.
Yeah, and the Witch there is going to try to start cleaning this up. The Ewis will probably come down. Not this time. The Giant Snowball will do it. I just want to... Oh, that freeze was so smart. Even though they activated the King Tower, which can make it difficult for Hogs, it was such a clutch choice to go in for that. And there's the Hog Rider coming in. So, if you are Kicks right now, one of the things you can do is offset the Giant Skeleton slightly to the right side of the bridge as the Hog Rider comes down the left, and the Giant Skeleton will stop the Hog Rider from going towards the tower, right? He'll stop from the Goblin Cage. So to keep it on track to the tower, it is kind of tricky to do in 2v2 on the fly, but it is definitely possible. And we see OGN enters this time, load up with that Lava Hound. The Mega Minion is behind the Baby Dragon. We see this push did so much damage earlier on today. Will it be able to go through? And there is the Hog Rider. It's going to be pulled into the middle.
All right, it does not get any damage in, and now once again the Lava Hound, great lightning, will get that Witch, and you're going to use that Giant Skeleton to take some damage. The poison's going to clean up the Magic Archer, and everything at the bridge will have to be dealt with and bought time for with that Lumberjack. Now, once again, right away, that Goblin Cage comes down as soon as the Hog. Is Kix going to load up with another Hog after this? I don't think they can. There's just too much defense available. Bridge spamming the Lava Hound.
Yeah, interesting that Kix kind of moved the Giant Skeleton to the front so it wouldn't get lightning down. The Inferno Tower takes out the Lava Hound, and a poison dropped on the tower. It looks like Kicks are ready to just spell cycle this out. But that is dangerous because their tower isn't that much healthier.
They want to get rid of that Witch. There's too much that can distract the Inferno Tower if it comes through, but this time the Inferno Tower not available. Now, good placement of that Magic Archer. It avoids the lightning, but they need an answer. Is it going to be the Ewiz? Yes, he comes down. He is going to clean up the pups. Now Kix needs to load up and try to find a way to get a push to go that will avoid the Goblin Cage. They have the Earthquake, but that's really not that great against Goblin Cage. And you can see they're trying to push it through, but oh, this time it's going to come in. There is a poison, but it's going to get pulled by the Fisherman. And the right away, this is what I was talking about. You load up another Hog and you go to town.
Yeah, only got one hit though. There is so much damage there with the Inferno Dragon and the Witch just absolutely melting it. Earthquake comes in, the Snowball is there in the lightning, and OGN enters. Do indeed close out game one.
A good initial push, but they were struggling to find ways to answer the Lava Hound. They have the Ewiz and the other things available, but they were cycling through them at times. And then when the Lava Hound push came, the Ewiz wasn't there except for the very last time. I think that was kind of a bit of a tricky situation for them because you really want to have that Ewiz available for when the Lava Hound splits up into the pups.
Yeah, OGN Entis 2v2 here is just scary at times, like just how they made this work. Okay, goes down, then instantly load up the Lava Hound. They don't care if the Witch is behind it or not. Fisherman here, MVP, keeping the Hog Rider away from the towers. And it was just a war of attrition. Every time that Lava Hound came out, there was at least some damage getting done to the tower. And it ended up paying off. Like, it doesn't matter how long you wait. If you take 200 off every time and you only take 100, you're gonna win the match.
Lightning is so powerful against a lot of the current meta. And once again, we're seeing it be super effective here. It's really the difference maker. You can see they're trying to get through, but with that Witch and the help, a little bit of help from the Inferno Dragon, you only get one hit, and then your spells aren't as fast, right? Lightning's basically instant, plus a Snowball, which has a fast travel time. You can't win that spell duel.
No, well, we're gonna have to see, can OGN kind of finish this 2v2 off real early? It's gonna be interesting to find out, because JP and Pedro have not 2-0'd to this evening.
Are we going to see an Executioner from Kix here? Now, normally you don't want to bring an Executioner when there's no Tornado available. We're going to try the Wall Breakers now.
There is a Wall Breaker Executioner deck, so it's still possible. It would be interesting, but then you're kind of hoping your opponent sticks with the Lava.
Right. That's exactly it. Because otherwise, and they are. So I'm really curious to see what Kix's answer is going to be. That's going to be a Lava Hound of their own this time. Looking pretty similar between the two decks. Of course, the Baby Dragon fits in nicely, can tank a lot of damage and do some splash to keep things like the bats and other stuff off. And right right now, looking pretty darn even here.
Yeah, another Baby Dragon played at the back. Both teams kind of mirroring each other, almost getting the same amount of damage. A little bit extra damage being done by Kicks here, and they instantly load up with another Lava Hound. They get that down faster than their opponents, and that is going to matter in a pretty much mirror deck matchup.
A Lightning would be pretty good here. There it is indeed. Cleans up that Goblin Cage, but it's not going to get the Witch, which is what you wanted. And so you get a little bit extra damage. Now you've got to play some defense. Will there be a bridge spam? Lava Hound, maybe not because of this bomb tower. You don't feel like maybe you're ready to waste it yet. OG and Entus might try to load up for a bigger push.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Lava Hound connected to the tower regardless of the Goblin Cage. It did look as though it was dealing damage to the tower, so the Lightning may have been a bit wasted there.
Ah, well, you're still getting the spell damage, I guess. I'll be curious to watch that replay. You might be right, because it was desperate. That Goblin Cage was very late.
Yeah, anyway, Lava Hound goes down at the bridge this time. Kicks his Lava Hound, doesn't make it to the tower. And there is a very healthy push coming here from OG and Entus. The Lava Hound is there. The Inferno Dragon is pretty healthy. The Poison isn't, it's just about able to finish it. Ow. They took a lot of damage, but Baby Dragon survives.
All right, what is Kix's response going to be? They had to utilize quite a bit in terms of defense, so now they're trying to set up for a push of their own, because OG and Entus double loaded, did one push, then immediately went for another one. Will they be able to take advantage of that? Are we going to see a Poison to potentially deal with this Witch, or are they just going to wait? Just a log to come down for now. There's that Goblin Cage again, and the Lightning does get the Witch this time, so that is the unit you really, really want to get taken down.
I feel like they waited ever so slightly for the Goblin Cage to take a bit more damage so that it would target the Witch first. So interesting, and the tower goes down, but there is still the Lava Hound and the double Mega Minions here. The Baby Dragon is there, the Fisherman is there. Are they going to be able to take this tower and reset this match? That is a question we're going to find out very, very shortly. 6-3-2 on the tower, no. Perfect defense here. I think they're going to hold as we go in to game 3 between these two teams.
I was just about to ask if there was a Lightning here for OGN, and right at the buzzer they threw one down, but it was too little, too late. Very well played out. Good turnaround with almost mirror decks coming through.
Yeah, if OGN could have found a couple of cycles with that Lightning, it would have been a different game. They'd have reset. We'd have been going down to one tower.
It's interesting to think that normally you really like the Witch because it's pretty strong against air units now, but in this case when there's a Lightning, you actually lose a lot with that Witch there. It's really painful to have it just go down like that, because a lot of times your opponent is forced to Poison Log, Poison Snowball, Poison Zap to take it down.
But with the Lightning, it's fine. And in 2v2, you always have the elixir for it. It always seems like one player will have the elixir. Unfortunately, we're not going to. I don't think we're going to see. I think it's in this push.
Let's see. All right. So
no, it was before this. So
it was the one before that. Yeah.
We're not going to see. I think it was connected to the tower anyway. Here we go. The Pup's going to get the damage done in here with the Poison, taking it down. Relatively simple. And from there, it was just a case of holding the line.
Yeah, and really good patience by Kix to save that Inferno Dragon, knowing that they were going to have another Lava Hound push at the end to try to get going. That's your only answer there. So OGN wants to take a timeout. Really want to think this one over. When they brought the Lava Hound, they found out that when their opponents brought basically the same deck, they weren't quite as good.
Yeah, so game 3, same decks, different decks.
Someone's gonna. I just feel like someone's gonna be like, well, we gotta bring an Executioner, but then
if you do, and the other team's like, all right, they're gonna bring an Executioner, you're gonna bring a change.
I mean, are we gonna see like Mega Knight Graveyard Freeze or something like that?
E-Barbs. Are we gonna see E-Barbs?
Yeah, definitely. Are we gonna see Sparky? You never see Sparky in 2v2s.
That's true.
Nobody does that.
I mean,
I know.
I think E-Barbs is the only card that hasn't been played this season. We saw Heal last week.
Yes.
And it worked.
Yes.
Weirdly. Are there any other cards that haven't been used this season? I don't think there is. I think everything else has been used.
I think we did see Bomber one time. So
yeah, we've seen Bomber.
I don't know. Did we see Wizard? Maybe.
I think we saw one. I feel like we saw one Wizard.
Wizard's not great, but the problem is like now that the Witch got a damage buff as well, the Wizard almost becomes even more irrelevant. Because like he has that huge splash, which is nice, but he had a decent DPS as well. But compared to the Witch for the 5 elixir, now it's the Witch does almost as much damage as he does.
I think
she does more single target.
Yeah, more single target, but no splash.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we see the Lava Hound again from Kix here. And we see, it looks like it could be the same matchup.
Looks like OG Enentus thinks they can just kind of out-cycle this time, and they do a nice job up on that top left, getting a decent amount of damage done. A few pups get a few belches onto the bottom right Princess Tower, but a slight advantage for OG Enentus on all that.
Yeah, very, very slight though. Nothing to write home and sing home about at this point in the game. The Infernal Dragon is going to get taken down by the Tower and the Baby Dragon. So there we go. It is the same matchup as before. So we've seen OGN play the same deck 3 times, and that is beautiful. Goblin Cage is there just in time though.
Who needs lightning when you got wall breakers to rid yourself of that pesky Goblin Cage, and you still have the lightning as well.
Oh, this is scary.
This is super interesting. I love what Kix brought here.
Yeah, this is super scary. It is the same deck they bought last time. They did have wall breakers, they just never used them. But here we go. Okay. All right. I will say that Kix got the better of that exchange right there, and that is, when you're playing a mirror matchup and you get an advantage like that, that's crazy.
Well, it's so strong. It's so important. All right, both teams are going to use poisons, hoping to catch those pups inside the poison. Because of the Inferno, you're able to break apart those pups pretty early, but looks like you're going to get a little extra damage from Kix in all of that, even though there is a bit of a push, but it's not much. That Inferno Dragon is too weak to even get within range of his beam. So Kix continues to just find slight advantages. The wall breakers onto the Goblin Cage is going to be huge. That's a really nice situation for them.
Yeah, and there's no Witch this time either, so you can use that lightning much more liberally than before, because you haven't got to save it just for the Witch. It can be used anywhere. It really opens up the game. There is the wall breakers. Are they going to connect? No, just in time.
Oh, just short were the wall breakers, because now you've got 2 pretty healthy baby dragons fighting with a Mega Minion who is in fact going to go down. Bats are placed to try to distract the Inferno Dragon, but he does lock onto the Lava Hound before he's fought off by the Snowball. Now some pups are out, but it looks like none of them are really going to be focused on the tower. Just poison damage coming through on the bottom right.
Yeah, and this should be enough for the Princess Tower to clean up with the Valkyrie. They're definitely going to be. And again, it's looking like advantage Kix, but OGN can still bring this home. It's going to be tough. There's the lightning onto the tower. 2, 3, 4. The Valkyrie. Oh,
2 spells. 2 spells here for Kix. 1 spell now is just poison rage. That's going to be it. The log's going to come through, and Kix is going to once again take a 2v2. IMJP and Pedro are marvelous together. This is absolute magic.
Well, that's the last time we're going to see them 2v2 this evening. And what a way to do it. Each one, every 2v2 they played this evening has finished 2-1 in their favor. Yeah, 100% win rate, boys, right there. Oh.
Their ability to adjust on the fly, changing up the wall breaker usage. Like you mentioned, yeah, they had wall breakers before, but they didn't really seem to find a comfortable way to use it. There they found it. They're like, oh, you have a Goblin Cage? Well, we're going to eradicate that so our lightning doesn't get wasted on the cage and then the Brawler potentially. We just want it for the Brawler.
It's interesting that the Witch got dropped by both teams at the same time. Like, game 3, no Witches whatsoever. Did they see that the Witch is an issue in this deck? Like,
it's a liability.
It is a liability.
It's too much elixir to have wasted on a lightning. It's just too much.
Well, whatever their thought processes were, Kix managed to break through OGN's almost impeccable 2v2. But the issue is the 1v1. 1v1 is really where OGN enters shine. And I'm just going to take a look at Thunder and OneCran's 2v2 record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins against 1, 2,
You're like,
3,
just keep going.
3 losses. 7-3. So now, yeah. All right.
I mean, this is about as even it gets in terms of their 1v1 skills.
I'm just going to point out, OG and Ensis have only played 3 King of the Hills, and 2 of those were against Bernie Sports.
Yeah. And they did pretty well one time, and it looked like they were going to do really well because TNT won the first 2, then lost to Monarch GP. And
they ended up losing that one. So
yeah.
They lost 1 against Bernie Sports, they won 1 against the Esports, and they beat OPGG. But, sorry about that. We're going to get into this 1v1. TNT. This guy,
he's dynamite.
Oh. I'm gonna go.
There we go.
I'm gonna go rinse my ears out with some antibacterial soap after that one.
I've been saving that one all season. You have no idea.
Why did you unleash it against me, man?
Who else would I do it against? Who else?
Do it against G-Clan.
No. He doesn't appreciate my bad puns. He doesn't give me the same exaggerated, amazing reactions.
It's not exaggerated. I am legitimately annoyed at that one. Because I've been trying to save up for that myself, and now you've just blown it.
I stole it from you. Yeah, the good one there. You've blown it. Okay.
My heart hurts.
All right, Legend versus TNT. This is, I mean, like you were saying during the break, TNT really likes Royal Giant.
Yeah. He does.
And there's still a lot of Royal Giant decks that are available in the meta. Of course, you know, your standard Furnace kind of thing is always out there with, you know, these days you're seeing more like Valkyrie thrown into it. You're still having the Lightning as the spell, but usually the Log is the follow-up spell, so.
Yeah, I mean, with the rise of Wall Breakers, I feel like Royal Giants have not kind of dropped off, but they're not as common as they once were. They were pretty much everywhere at one point. And since Royal Giants has offered an alternative win condition, I feel like Royal Giants have slipped down the list a little bit.
I went through on the day before the Wall Breakers patch, when everything changed, and looked at how often Royal Giants were being used. Like, in terms of just each game, like whether one person or the other brought it, it was almost 80% in the Clash, across all of like Clash Royale leagues. It was crazy. It was just there all the time, but it's not, although TNT right now loading up for potentially what could be those 3 cards definitely fit in with it. He doesn't want his Furnace to take any damage. Interesting use of the Log there. He wants to keep the pressure on.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose the Furnace anyway, regardless, because, you know, it is an investment. It is something that you put in to save for later defenses. So we're going to see the Royal Ghost from Legend again. Royal Ghost is a card that he used against, who did he play first? Chronos, and he just wrecked with it.
The Royal Ghost is proving to be a real thorn in the side of these current meta decks. It's a card that is good against the Furnace. It's good against even the Valkyrie. It's pretty good against on defense because it gets the first swing in. And you can see this, exactly what I was just saying. It's good here because you get that first swing. He's pretty tanky. He hits pretty hard under your Princess Tower. He comes out a little bit ahead, similar to how a Knight does, but then he turns invisible.
Yeah, and he's going to get to the tower here. Oh,
this is Royal Giant.
Yeah, with that Lightning taking out the Witch, I mean, advantage TNT, I want to say, but the Miner comes in, isn't caught by anything, so it's going to get a few hits in here. The Archers will take it out.
It depends. It's weird because Mega Knight isn't the ideal counter to Royal Giant, but you do have a Fisherman, and that can buy you a lot of time with that Mega Knight and the minions and that kind of thing to really mitigate the damage from the Royal Giant. So I lean just ever so slightly towards Legend. A big part of it being this Royal Ghost, which I don't feel like there are amazing counters to in this deck.
Yeah, well, Baby Dragon connects onto the tower for a few more hits for TNT. Everything's kind of these Wall Breakers, they're not answered. The Archers are there. Oh, that was good by TNT. Putting them in a position where one will target one and one will target the other. That was either blind luck or sheer skill.
I think that was skill. Definitely, the Archers, like we've been saying, are strong right now in the meta. They're pretty good against the Wall Breakers and the Witch. So you can see we're just loading up here from Legend. Will there be a counter punch in the left-hand lane with that Royal Giant?
The Witch connects. The Log has to come in.
Oh boy.
7-4-2 on that bottom right tower and loads up with the wall breakers on the left-hand side. This is gonna not take out the furnace, obviously, because the fire spirits do kill them off instantly. But look at the damage the miner's getting. And there is the first Royal Giant.
And
Right, fisherman.
right away, but it's got the Valkyrie to deal with first. And those archers were well placed by TNT to keep that fisherman busy. So you're getting some pretty decent damage from the Royal Giant.
The fisherman's gone. He didn't get a chance to pull at all. 4-6-5 has to play the defensive miner here, does Legend. 4-6-5 remaining. And just like that, the first Royal Giant comes out. And Legend struggles.
Legend's got to keep that fisherman a little further back so it doesn't try to get onto things that are near the bridge. And you can see right away, knowing that he has a damage advantage there, that is not going to be good. The zap's going to come through, one shot in here, and all we need is the lightning. And this is going to be TNT's game. This should be about it, or just a belch from the Baby Dragon. Good enough.
I mean, okay. As soon as Legend played that fisherman at the bridge, TNT puts down the Royal Giant and sustains.
I also agree that you can't
cycle fishermen at the bridge like that.
No. And also, I'm not. I like the idea of instead keeping the Mega Knight around for when the Royal Giant comes out, because it does okay damage against it. I don't like the idea of cycling it in the back in 2x elixir time. It works in 1x because you can buy a lot of value with it, but in 2x it's a lot easier to defend against it. But I like using it against the Royal Giant at the bridge and then trying to build up a push behind that. You can even throw some wall breakers behind that Mega Knight.
Yeah, and here, like the archer placement there to make sure that fisherman never even looks at the Royal Giant. Super smart from TNT. There is a reason why the first season when TNT came into Clash Royale League Asia, everyone was horrified. Everyone was saying TNT is the best player in Korea. Hands down, he makes us all look like chumps. Even Expo Master was like, yeah, TNT, best player in Korea. And for a guy with Expo Master's like ego to say someone else is the best, you know he's scary.
TNT is phenomenal, absolutely beyond phenomenal. There's a lot of emerging young talent here in Korea. Line, Dandelion, TNT.
And they all end up on the same team.
Yeah, well except Line. Line's on
Line.
Dragon X, but yeah. Everybody else is, it's on OGN. And OGN, I think, wisely stacked up and built this young talent. Kept basically the same roster going in, exactly the same roster going into the season from last season. Yeah. Coached him up. You know, you still got Victor, who, by the way, I know we don't see a lot of him, but he is a very strong player as well. One Crown, we used to see him a lot in 1v1s when he first came through. It was very good.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about Victor's role. Like, he's here today. He is around. You can see him sitting there. Do you think he's like the scout against like the Western players, like the players who are the imported players to this region?
That's probably
Petros,
part of it.
yeah, JPs. Like, do you think he looks at those more because he might understand the meta of that region a little bit better?
That's probably part of it, I would think. And he's versatile. You can come in and he's pretty good at 1v1s. So quick. Oh, we're into the game. I thought that might be a replay for a second there.
Yeah, me too. And then it connected, and I'm like, well, this didn't happen before. All right, Fisherman played to kind of catch the miner there. Does a good job. We have taken one hit. We were a little bit delayed getting in. So a miner from TNT, not caught by the Royal Ghost. Fisherman pulls Fisherman. Fisherman kills Fisherman. Fisherman hooks the tower. Name a better story than that.
Well, it's going to get some more fish slaps. That wet, wet sound that you often hear. Whoa, 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 whoa. Is this Golem?
No, this is 2019. Golem doesn't exist anymore.
I know. I'm just trying to hype myself up. With a miner, definitely, probably not.
Yeah, well, Golem doesn't exist anymore unless it's purple and pink. Anyway, Legend drops down the Mega Minion. Oh, nice fireball in there. And we see the pull of the Fisherman. The minions don't get through, but the Mega Minion just decides to abandon ship. 18-14 on that bottom right left-hand tower. And everything's going to get cleaned up by the Princess Towers here.
So Legend feels confident he can make it work with this same deck. And I'm not This time, normally, you know, you hear me say that I don't like it when players do this. There is those wall breakers. Uh-oh, those get through. A Night Witch is not good enough to stop them. Okay.
Oh, and the Witch gets in front of the Giant too.
Oh, that's not great. That's not what you want. It's going to get pulled in, and yes, there are bats there. Oh, that's not ideal. And now you're going to get a good fireball as well here. The minions are going to have to be dropped. Tons of punches coming in, so the fisherman giveth, but sometimes the fisherman taketh away.
I was trying to think of a fish pun, I'm out. All right, so wall breakers down the left-hand side. That needs an answer. The fisherman isn't good enough again. Does get one hit. Okay, TNT is not answering the wall breakers as he should. The Royal Ghost here is going to take that out. All right, so this is definitely advantage Legend, I feel, in terms of decks right now. In terms of the way they're playing, it's advantage Legend.
You can save that Mega Knight and drop it on top of all of this mess and kind of prevent, and this time using the fisherman much more efficiently. A fireball going to keep things together for that miner. That miner is going to, it gets pulled away just at the last second.
But we're still in fireball range, and there isn't that much that can deal damage directly to TNT's tower. Unless this wall breaker connects, and it does! 10 seconds remain, we're gonna get this tied up here.
All right, yep, no problem here. TNT just waiting to see if he has to use that fireball. He did it. He wasted that 4 elixir there. There were plenty of bats left, and there wasn't enough Princess Tower. So this is really interesting now. A bit of a mistake from TNT.
Yeah,
will that be the crack in the armor?
Before that fireball, TNT had a pretty big advantage because after the fireball, they're even on elixir. I mean, he needed to secure it, I understand. But are there cracks appearing in TNT's almost flawless image?
Double Giant coming in here, though. So this Witch is going to be very crucial. Fireball is going to get rid of her skeletons with the Zap as well. A Zap used to clean up the bats left over from the Night Witch, but tons of punches are coming down from our Giant. And that is a lot of damage done by TNT. We're going to get wall breakers in the pocket. There's enough there to clean them up, and only a little bit of minor damage.
Yeah, the fisherman this time does go down. So there is the Witch, this time just out of fireball range, ever so slightly, I believe. Nope, not placed perfectly enough. A little bit more on the left-hand side maybe would help here, but the fisherman is going to take out. She does distract, but look at the Mega Minion. TNT. All right, TNT, all right.
Well, this is about what you expected here.
Yeah.
You felt pretty confident about Kicks going into the 2v2, and then you run into the buzzsaw that is OG and Entis's 1v1s.
Yeah, and that is where it's going to get scary, because when we get to the King of the Hill, there's Dandelion, possibly. He's the 4th player, I believe, so he can enter.
Oh, he has to be.
I mean, Dandelion and TNT? What are you going to do?
I don't know. This is a just...
Is this where the dream ends?
I think there's going to be some magic here from Kicks. This is them pushed up against the back of the wall, right? And that's when, you know, when an animal is caged like this, that's when they fight the hardest to get out. So I really think there's potential here. I think Legend, if he's going to come out in the King of the Hill, I'm going to assume they're going to run the same lineup that we've seen, which was some version of
one
Atro,
order, yeah.
Legend, IMJP in one order, another. This deck's got to go for now. It seems like we've gotten it figured out. I loved it the first time we saw it, but now we're seeing some pretty well thought out counters. Night Witch being a very good counter to the Royal Ghost. So
yeah, Night Witch in general, like without the Golem, it's only just started to become a thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember where people were like, yeah, Night Witch, terrible. Only useful with Golem. Why would you use it anymore? But then it got the 4 bats buff. So now when it dies, it gets 4 bats, and it's become a staple of quite a few decks, especially paired with Giant instead of Witch. I like it. I like it.
I really, really like it.
All these decks are good. Not gonna lie.
There's some really fascinating, like, minor tweaks in these decks that we're seeing these players make to try to adjust to the meta. We see some little, you know, a little extra accoutrement thrown out here from these players, where you're getting things like a balloon instead of wall breakers, or you're getting a graveyard where you don't expect it, and things like that.
All right, so looking at the lineup, One Crown TNT and then Dandelion. Pretty obvious lineup. Maybe the order, I would probably put Dandelion first so he could all kill and then go home early. But JP, then Pedro, then Legend, giving Pedro a little bit of a break after all killing Sandbox.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. This match has been so good. I've forgotten everything else from this evening. And then Legend to close it up. Is Legend a good anchor? Do you think Legend can anchor the King of the Hill here?
I think your goal here is to just try to take advantage of the maybe quote-unquote weakness of One Crown. And I'm not saying that One Crown is a bad player. He is not. He is very, very good at 1v1s. You can see his current standing on the ladder, 7-7-3-5, is pretty darn good. And, you know, King of the Hills, he's 2-1. But I think the idea here is that you pounce on top of this with IMJP and Pedro. Try to just take a couple games and then try to weather the Dandelion Storm if you can.
But before you get to the Dandelion Storm, 8,118 trophies is his highest trophies. My God, that's high.
He's really good, dude.
Okay, anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so before you get to the Dandelion Storm, you gotta go through TNT.
True.
And it's volatile.
Who do you think is better?
Between TNT and Dandelion?
Right. I know. I thought of the toughest question I could.
I think TNT is more solid than Dandelion.
Yeah.
But Dandelion is one of those players that can just come out of nowhere and just kind of, you know, steal your wallet out your back pocket. You know, he's a bit like a pickpocket. He'll come in and steal something where he had no right to steal it.
He's so good. All right, game number 1 of this King of the Hill gets underway now. The season on the line for Kicks in this King of the Hill. If OG and Entus does lose this King of the Hill, we play one more King of the Hill to see who will go on to those finals and make it to the World Championships.
All right, so Hog Rider from JP. All right, we haven't seen this in 1v1. All right, okay, there's the Earthquake. Okay, so it is Hog Earthquake. Very, very popular, I would say, the latter part of 2018. When was it 2018?
Early,
Earthquake?
like 2019.
Yeah, whenever Earthquake came out, it was an incredibly popular deck.
It's, I think, really smart to try this from JP because we're seeing so many different types of buildings, especially furnaces being used. Not too bad against Bomb Tower either. And just getting that one hit occasionally from that Hog Rider starts to add up. The real question is what's the defense going to be? I'm real curious to see if he's going to bring Inferno Tower in this.
There is the Archers. They do get locked, but there's the Hog Rider. That is also going to distract the Baby Dragon. The Valkyrie pushed right into it, and the Baby Dragon goes down. The Archers there going to take each other out right here, and everything's even. 5 elixir each. They're both roughly in the same amount. Nobody's leaked anything. 0.4 leaked for One Crown, 0.3. This is balanced, but in terms of HP, JP has the advantage.
It's going to be a little bit faster. I like what One Crown is thinking. So One Crown is assuming that there is an Inferno Tower here. That's why he's building up. This is what you have to do with the RG. You have to build up pushes behind your RG, get some units in front of it to tank that Inferno Tower. Will it be the Inferno Tower? Probably.
You think it's going to be Inferno Tower instead of Bomb Tower? We've seen Bomb Tower used by Kicks quite a bit this evening, and it is Bomb Tower, yeah. So Kicks are favoring Bomb Tower over Inferno, probably for that reason.
I agree. That's why I said earlier I was unsure if this would actually be oh boy.
I thought the Bomb Tower then reached over. I think it reached over and hit the Fire Spirits coming out, which did that little bit of extra damage to the furnace, making it go down quicker.
That's huge.
Yeah, that got quite a bit of damage for JP's Hog Rider. It just opened it up. And we see, okay, there is the Royal Giant.
Is the Bomb Tower cycle?
There.
It is.
And that Valkyrie's going to take damage. This is why I think Kicks are going for it. It is just a great counter to Royal Giant when you have to put things in front of it.
I love the change up. That's why I said, I'm like, I don't think this is going to be Inferno Tower. 2 hits. Oh boy.
Okay. All right. This is advantage JP, but he has to keep it up. There's the Bomb Tower again. The Valkyrie's going to go down with that. The Bats are there. The Archers are there. The Princess Tower.
And look at the placement of this Bomb Tower. It is outside of Lightning. to hit the princess.
Yeah, you cannot cycle any spell damage against this. The Earthquake this time, the only damage that sneaks through. But at this point, you can just keep doing that. JP has the luxury of going over and over again, just playing that Earthquake against the tower and the Furnace to take this game. There is the Royal Giant. The Valkyrie is played. The bats are there. Where is the bomb tower? The bomb tower isn't being used this time, saving the 4 elixir. He's going to make a big push now.
All right, he's just going to go right into the Earthquake. And now he just needs to play a little bit of defense, buy these archers some time to deal with this baby dragon and the others. Now we're going to get another Royal Giant, and that damage is plenty onto the bottom left. With that Earthquake and the zap, it is going to be JP taking the first game. 4 kicks, a big win for them.
Yeah, that takes 1 crown out. But that's like the final boss before he transforms into his next form. Right? 1 crown is basically a baby TNT.
Yes.
You beat TNT, and then his trusted psychic, the guy behind the curtain the whole time, Dandelion, comes out, and you got to go through him too. But will we see kicks or kill again twice this evening? I don't think TNT is going to go down quite as easy as JP made it look then against 1 crown.
I don't think you're going to get an all kill, but I wouldn't be too surprised to see JP take this one down and then Dandelion come through, potentially get a win. But
look at this focus. Like, normally you see players between the matches, they will just sit there, look at the phone, talk to their team. JP right now is reviewing what we're reviewing. He is seeing the screen. He's like, okay, yeah, I did this, I did this. These are key moments in this game. Like, you never see that. You never see someone sitting there watching their own replay, because it is horrible to watch yourself do something.
Because you're just so critical. You're like making the little mistakes that you made, and you kind of push that onto yourself.
Like many viewers, when I review my casting, I put it on mute.
Oh.
All right, TNT has been dominating. Look at that King of the Hill record in regular season. 5-1.
Yikes.
His 1v1 is 2-0. His King of the Hill in the playoffs is 1-0. This guy just hasn't lost. Someone stop the man.
No. I don't know if you can, man. He is so darn good. And then you've got Dandelion on the back of this. But then you got Pedro as well. I mean, there's so many scary players here. I don't even know. Is it going to be another RG? It looks like JP has the Royal Giant stuff potentially figured out a little bit. So what is going to be the other comfort zone for TNT? If he might be able to get the Royal Giant to work. The guy's a miracle worker.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him beat, what was it, Royal Giant with Expo, 2.6 Expo, which is a very tough matchup.
Yep.
So, game 2 is underway. TNT in blue at the bottom, JP in red at the top. Now, TNT has been taking names all season long. Can JP defeat him?
An early poison here from TNT. Does that mean graveyard, or does it just mean a minor kind of cycle of some sort? That's basically all we see poison with. The zap as well.
All right.
In the old days, I'd say this was going to be
an all-spell cycle deck?
No, I'd say it was Lava Hound Miner, with a witch, of course not.
Yeah. I was hoping for the all-spell cycle deck, but unfortunately, this isn't triple elixir mode. Okay, Giant Blade at the back, so we do have Giant Witch. Is it going to be the double Witch variant? Is it going to be Night Witch behind this? You're nodding your head. You're like...
I think so.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe not. There's a couple other ones that you can run with it. Yeah, it is the double.
It is the double Witch.
I thought so.
You need to trust yourself a bit more. Okay. The Valkyrie does get pulled across the river and is going to spin and only hit the Fisherman. Unfortunately, the Night Witch does outrange her. So how are we going to deal with this right now? He has 3-4 elixir, taking the damage from the bats. Tornado comes in, but the miner is taking the hits. This is bad.
Yeah,
this
JP,
is tower down.
He knows. He kind of let this one up. The defense wasn't available, so he's gonna let up himself. And I'm pretty sure this is just a graveyard here from JP.
Do you feel the tornado there was detrimental? to JP's defense? Because I think if
I don't know
he
what other
didn't
choices
tornado, do you think it would have carried on hitting the Night Witch? Do you think the tower would have hit the Night Witch?
Ah, I see what you're saying. Maybe.
I'm unsure.
I think you're right. Well, JP's got to load up for something. He's having to use that poison onto the Witch, which is not exactly how he's going to want to use it, I'm assuming.
All right, Night Witch played at the bat, the Miner. This time goes ham on the tower. There is the graveyard, as you were saying. Fisherman played there to draw back the Valkyrie, so she cannot tank for the graveyard.
That's
Beautiful.
really nice. Man, TNT, so good. 30 seconds. It's only going to be one more shot for JP to get this going. This time he's going to try it with the Witch at the bridge. Fisherman right on top of it. That is going to get rid of that Witch. Oh, not quite. I'm wrong. One slap away. All right, here it comes. But this, I don't think, is going to be enough. JP is kind of taking his hands off and giving the little clap, and it is going to be TNT continuing to be undefeated in 1v1s today.
Undefeated in matches in the playoffs so far. TNT take a bow, son. All right.
And this is really fascinating. Like, to watch him just, oh my, I almost knocked that thing over. Just to dismantle these extremely good players.
Yeah. TNT could dismantle, I was going to say dismantle a bomb, but
Oh!
no, I'm
disarm.
All right, anyway.
You don't dismantle bombs, you disarm them.
Yeah, it depends.
Depends on what?
It depends on who's saying it, all right? I'm saying it, it's done. Okay, so the Giant Witch here was an interesting choice. I feel like JP's first deck would have fared a little bit better.
Yeah.
Tornado.
Not great because you have Earthquake and there's no buildings to use it on.
See, I'm really confused at that Tornado because in my mind, I feel like the tower should have targeted the Night Witch, but it targeted the Miner. I know the Miner was coming in and then was tornadoed out. So maybe the timing was just that fine for TNT.
If the Princess Tower had already locked on to the Miner, but yeah, I don't know for sure.
Like, it felt like the Witch was next. It must have, the Miner must have popped at the exact right time, because any longer, I feel like it would have hit the Night Witch, and we would have seen a slightly different result.
And that's why he's TNT. Those timings are so crucial.
Yep, well, no team has timeouts, so there's only 1 minute between the games now in this King of the Hill. And it is going to be Pedro off the back of an all kill. Is he going to be able to do this? I mean, his regular season King of the Hill was 2 losses.
That's pretty surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you're sitting there now 3-1. You just all killed the team.
Right.
You just all killed the team that all killed you last week.
And in his regular 1v1, matches, he was quite good. He was 5-2 in his sets. In his games, he was 11-5.
11-5. Damn.
You gotta like it. You gotta like his odds here.
Gotta like his odds, but I mean, TNT, he's scary, man.
I don't know. This kid looks so strong. He looks so unfazed. Even when he makes mistakes, he regroups and continues on.
TNT doesn't make mistakes. He's a machine.
He had the one fireball.
Oh, come on. All right.
A minor mistake in the grand scheme of things, because like you pointed out, he was already actually ahead in Elixir and using that fireball.
He was just trying to make it more interesting for himself. This guy literally is plugged into Clash Royale. Everything is done through the power of the supercomputer between his ears.
Game.
He's got one of those Matrix chairs actually that he's actually plugged into. This is just a robot TNT that we have. It's like a.
This is the Android version.
Yeah. Well,
someone cut that guy and see if he bleeds white goo.
Ooh.
That's an Alien reference.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, like Bishop.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
That one I got.
Nobody else got that at home.
No.
I don't think anyone else is old enough.
For this stuff, man.
We got to stop making movie references from when we were lads.
But if you haven't watched Alien, you got to go watch it. It's so good.
Cinematic masterpiece.
The first two, both.
I like the third one too.
The third one's not bad. But I'm not like that kind of horror movie style fan.
I think all right, getting off topic, but they are just waiting.
Yeah.
Alien 1 is a horror movie.
Yes.
Alien 2 is an action movie.
Right.
Alien 3 is a thriller.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that they're all so good.
Yeah, they're all really, really good. I think the first two are amazing. All right, there's a log. Let's get into it.
All right, cards have been played. We've stalled long enough. All right, so it's Archer and Archer.
And again, archers are all over the place now, so it's a lot harder to say what your opponent is thinking about doing when the archers are out, because there's so many different decks that they're squeezed into now because of their versatility in this meta.
It is crazy, isn't it? Like, everyone was like, Night Witch is going to be absolutely everywhere. She is. So what do people do? They adapt. Adapt, improvise, overcome.
Witch and Night Witch. Archers are pretty good against both. And not bad against wall breakers.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we have Royal Giant versus Royal Giant.
Mirror matchup.
Pedro, all right, okay. Slightly more air here for TNT. I think it's going to play slightly more into his favor. Especially when the only thing so far is the archers. There is a baby dragon of his own, so it is going to be identical decks thus far. So how do you differentiate yourself between these?
Well, a lot of it's going to come down to lightning value, what you can get out of your lightning. So if you're playing, you got to be real careful. And also log value. Right now, TNT has been able to get his logs to connect to the Princess Tower, whereas Pedro has been having to use them defensively on his side. So spell damage, I think, is definitely going to be a large factor here. And I just got to say, from a standpoint of who plays these decks more often, I feel like TNT's got that experience advantage.
Yeah, well, there is the log. Once again, as you said, connects to the tower. The Valkyrie is there to try and tank some stuff up and take out that Royal Giant, which it did, but his whole, like, Pedro's Royal Giant goes down equally as quick. And again, that baby dragon is the one breaking through to tank up. Somehow, TNT is getting more value out of the same cards.
Yeah, he's just finding the right times. You want to get those archers with that log. And that is going to be a fire spirit that's going to jump onto the furnace, and you're losing value just ever so slightly when those fire spirits are able to get some extra damage like that. And see here, this log's going to get fire spirits and the archers. That is where you're getting the value. Now, Pedro returns it with his own and a pretty good lightning.
Yeah, but just reload straight at the bridge. And then the Mega Minions, the Mega Minion and the Baby Dragon, okay, one hit goes through. That's the first Royal Giant hit, I believe, at this point in time. It feels like it anyway. I think all the rest of the damage was those Baby Dragons. And now we have Archers coming in. Fire Spirit takes out Fire Spirit. Fire Spirit takes out Archer. All right. Royal Giant played at the back.
That's a really good log there, because it catches one fire spirit. That's all you need to take down, because your Princess Tower will deal with it. That's not good. That is 2 fire spirits into your furnace of Pedro. That is actually really, it doesn't seem like much, but that's really detrimental.
Yeah, and Pedro's leaked ever so slightly more elixir, but since basically they've been playing cards, no one's leaked anything. There is the Royal Giant at the bridge. Is it gonna connect? Is the furnace in cycle? Oh my goodness, absolutely melted there. It's so hard to say how they're getting, like, you're right. I think the fire spirits attacking the furnace is the only difference between these two.
It's a really, really big problem. You cannot lose that furnace war. That's one of your big kind of damage soaks and investments in this situation. And you can see that TNT, he's getting a ton of value with these logs. He's getting a set of fire spirits, and he's getting the archers every single time. Now this time, look, Pedro's only getting archers. Didn't get any fire spirits out of that log.
Okay, there is the lightning as well. No baby dragon hit, no archer hit. Oh, and a fire spirit connects again. But both players loaded up on a furnace behind the tower at the same time. And the difference between TNT and Pedro at this point has solely been the baby dragon hits.
Pedro made a really smart change here by putting his furnace in the back. That made it so the log had to be used in a situation where there weren't archers available to catch onto that log. And you've got to use that lightning defensively, which is obviously not ideal, but you can't afford any Royal Giant shots. You're going to have to get some stuff going here, Pedro. Only 40 seconds left in overtime now. A Royal Giant in the back. Can you get something going at the bridge if you're Pedro? There is just not much time, and TNT has weathered you by throwing logs into your tower, basically.
The erosion going on right now. This is like watching a cliff disappear. Okay, is he going to get a hit? No, he isn't. Royal Giant absolutely melted. Pedro, was this... Like, it's like trying to fight fire with fire, isn't it? Like, you know TNT is a god. You kind of guess what deck he's going to bring, so you bring the same thing. And I mean, what can you do? TNT, all right, tiebreaker, who will win? I mean, it's obvious, it had 11 HP. What do we need to wait for that for?
It's a new mechanic they put in, but man, this guy is so good right now. And I think, in my personal opinion, it's a bit of a mistake to try to go toe-to-toe with him with his best deck. He's just going to outthink you and outplay you. Yes, Pedro is an excellent, excellent player, can play anything, but this guy right here is the master of RGs, and there's quite a bit of stuff available that can still deal with the Royal Giant decks. So, you know, even if it's a simple, we've seen it already, even if it's a simple P.E.K.K.A. Battle Ram deck, very powerful against this deck.
Is the fatigue setting in for Kicks? They've lost that momentum that they gained from earlier. They lost the 1v1 to TNT. JP brings it back up a little bit, but it feels like the tempo has slowed for the Kicks, and that is bad. When you're pushing against tiredness, you want to keep that tempo up. You got to keep it away. That's why you play like EDM or something like that when you're in the car driving long distance. You got to keep up that momentum. But that game was slow.
Right.
Is that going to fatigue Legend? Because he was sitting there watching it that whole time thinking, all right, I think I'm going to be up next. So just finish it. Let me up, let me up, let me up. All right, now I'm tired.
The real question becomes, what does Legend do? Now, Legend used to be a very, he really liked to play RG. He was the one who brought in that RG cannon cart for forever ago. That was really, really fascinating when he brought that out. But now, what do? I think there's a lot of decent answers. You just got to be ready for this Royal Giant shenanigans, because that lightning means you're not really interested in bringing a witch, which is super popular in the meta. What else can you go to? Balloon decks aren't bad against Royal Giant decks because you're a little bit faster in how you can take advantage of changing. Like if a Royal Giant gets put in the bridge on one side, you just bam, throw your balloon and the other stuff at the other side and try to catch your opponent in a situation where they don't have much elixir.
If this is the way you're thinking, TNT probably assumes that Kicks are thinking the same thing, right? So if he's thinking, all right, they're going to bring a Royal Giant counter deck, does he bring a deck that counters the Royal Giant counter deck?
Probably. I mean, maybe. Or do you just go with what's working because you've got Dandelion coming up next and you're pretty confident?
I don't know if you wanna risk it. Like, I think OGN right now are just like, all right, I want to go and prepare for next week. Like, let's just finish it now. It's way past my bedtime. It's 10:08 here. Like, TNT feels like the kind of person who goes to bed at 7 o'clock every night, wakes up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and just studies. Like, he does his homework before he goes to school in the morning.
Well, these teams are so well prepared this week. I have to give both of them credit. Kicks, of course, for coming through here, winning two matches themselves to even get to this moment. All right, Goblin Cage, that's not too bad against RG. Well, with the poison now, probably not. You're not going to see that too often. An Ice Golem leads me to suspect that maybe, well...
With a Muskie?
With a Muskie, then it's probably Balloon.
Probably. I want to say yes. But I mean,
don't see Musketeer. Yeah, you just don't see it paired with much else. And so this is interesting because TNT seems to have thought this through, like we were talking about.
Why is he so, like, he is plugged into the Matrix? Who is giving him the answers? Because somebody's got to be. There's no way. Someone check behind Legend right now, make sure there isn't a camera that shouldn't be there. Like, this is ridiculous. How? How do you know this? Okay, the miner comes in from the front in with Legend. The Valkyrie is going to be there, but it didn't catch the miner. That's a little bit of damage. That's a shining star for Legend at this point.
So this is probably Graveyard from TNT. And the real question becomes, can Legend keep the pressure on enough to keep that Graveyard from being able to be utilized effectively? I don't know. The furnace is here, and
Okay,
it
is it
doesn't
gonna
get any more.
Snowball, but the Musketeer, my goodness, 2 hits and the death, just in range on 588. Is Legend going to take out TNT?
This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. If this goes to game 5, I don't know if my heart could take it. All right, Balloon dropped right away behind the ice goal. There is a graveyard back there. Some pretty good spawns coming out of there. There is a ton of skeletons. That snowball is going to help, but geez Louise, that was a huge push by TNT.
Yeah, out of nowhere, that push comes in.
Oh,
3-5-2. TNT, please, man, you're scary. All right, the balloon comes in. The miner comes in to tank, but there is the furnace, so that means the fire spirits are going to help take that out. The Mega Minion is there. There is the first poison. The snowball with a bit of a sneeze. It's going to be over. TNT, all kills, kicks.
Looks to be over here. There is the miner. Try to help with the witch, but you've got the furnace, which is plenty of distraction.
And he knows it.
He knows it. That is going to be it. TNT will secure a spot in the finals of Clash Royale League Asia Season 2 and a spot in the World Finals.
Come on, TNT, you just got to the finals. Where is the smile? Look at him. He's how do you hold it back?
There we go. He's got nothing. The rest of the team is very, very excited, though.
I saw a smile in the back there. But look at these guys, they should not be upset. They have come in with an absolutely stellar performance. Kicks today. It doesn't matter if you lose to OGN Entus. OGN Entus are absolutely nuts. Kicks should be incredibly proud of what they've achieved.
And we can't say enough about TNT today. 5-0 in his 1v1s. That is godlike. Once again, we see another star in Clash Royale League Asia rising. This season, we've seen so many players have a 5-0 day. Benzer Rydell, Expo Master, and now TNT notches that for himself.
And what this means is TNT finally gets to prove himself on the global stage, because I believe this guarantees them a spot at Worlds.
It should. Top 2 teams.
Yeah.
So this is excellent, excellent stuff. OGN Entus, they are going to move on to the finals. That is going to be Saturday, November 3rd. Is that right? Second? My sheet's wrong.
Is it the 3rd? Is it the 2nd? Who knows?
Who knows?
Dates are
That's
temporary.
Saturday. The first Saturday in November.
But we had Kicks beat Chronos 2-0. Then we had Kicks beat Sandbox in the King of the Hill, where Pedro gets the all kill. Then OGN Entus lose the 2v2. Then they win the 1v1. TNT 2-0's Legend. And then in King of the Hill, JP beat One Crown. And then TNT went 3-0. 5-0 game score this evening. And as you can see, OGN Entus on the blue side finals on the left side of the screen. Who's going to make it against them? We're going to find out tomorrow. And if tomorrow is anything like today, it's going to be a super close day.
I am so excited for tomorrow. Make sure you guys tune in. Same time, same place. We will be here. And you are going to kick things off with Chaos Theory versus Dragon X. So all you Benzer fans out there, get ready. The winner of that's going to face OPGG Sports. Can they continue their hot streak? Can Expo Master continue the impressive performances that we've been seeing from him recently? And whoever wins that has got to go up against the buzzsaw of FOV Gaming.
Yeah, and although it's in Korean, exactly what Paper Thin just explained to everyone, that's what the Korean means here. The person who wins goes to the next round. The person who wins that one goes to the next round. And then if we need it, the King of the Hill. FOV Gaming, it's weird to say, but their weakest link is Jack. And that is terrifying for the team. Like, their 2v2, they've solved it. This is like tic-tac-toe for them. Like, they just come in, win, all right, let's go home. Jack is the weak link. And it's not because he's a bad player. It's because 1v1 is not tic-tac-toe.
Right.
It's not a solved game. Like, they're not putting the X in the corner on the first turn to win the match every time. So that's going to be incredible tomorrow.
I am really excited. Can Fob Gaming hold up? You almost feel like, what if they lose that 2v2? Then you start shaking in your boots. But they do have another chance, of course, because if they lose, there is that King of the Hill afterwards. And
but then is there 1v1 strong? I don't think they've been tested enough.
Well, you know,
1v1.
when we have gone to the King of the Hill 4-5, Ken Sameshi has been really good this season. Like, really good.
That's actually true, yeah.
And so I feel like there is that potential there. Now, are they on the same level as Kix or OGN? I don't think so. With what I'm seeing from especially OGN, this might be maybe the best team in the world. I mean, because a lot of it comes down to 1v1s on the bigger stages. The 2v2s are only going to be one of those sets in whether it be a best of 3 or a best of 5. And for OGN,
they have TNT and then Dandelion. If TNT's like, oh, I broke a nail, I need a day off, they just throw Dandelion in the 1v1.
He's so good. I'm out of like superlatives to say about this OGN team. They came up against a very, very strong Kix team that played out of their minds today. All the credit in the world to Kix. What a season for them. I tell you what, if they come back with the same roster, they are going to be just as scary next season as we thought they were, and potentially even better with some time to practice with the same rosters, get everything kind of figured out a little bit more. I mean, there is so much potential on that team.
Yeah, they have turned that team around. Kix haven't been that great season after season, but now, my goodness.
Incredible stuff we saw here today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will be back tomorrow with the last day of the playoffs before we get to the finals. Stay tuned. We'll see you then.